Jesus is real, but you devils taught lies on Christ. So many lies that when we come with the truth, people think that the lies is the truth and that the truth is the lie.
We changed the truth for God into a lie. In English, Jesus Christ. In Hebrew, it's Yahweh Shai. So do or die. The immaculate conception is deception, along with the myth of giving gifts on December 25th. Christmas is Satan's claws, the birth of Nimrod, and not the son of God. To you was kinda odd. On the Passover, Christ was born in the spring. So now we bring the truth about the King of Kings. That's Black Jesus and not Caesar Borgias. And the facts can't be changed. It's all about the Most High. It's all about Yahweh Shai. It's all about the Most High. It's all about Yahweh Shai. It's all about the Most High. It's all about Yahweh Shai. It's all about the Most High. It's all about Yahweh Shai. It's all about the Most High.
Shalom, brothers and sisters.
Shalom.
Shalom to everybody online. Welcome to another live class with the Israelite School of Biblical History and Practical Knowledge. I'm Priest S.O.W. We're located at 8524 South Braeswood Boulevard, Houston, Texas, 77071. Our class times are Monday and Wednesday from 7 to 10 p.m., Friday 6 to 9 p.m., and we have our Saturday morning Sabbath class from 10 to 2. As well as our kids class on Sundays from 2 to 3 p.m. We also have the Blog Talk Radio show. That's every Tuesday and Thursday, starting around 9:30. Brought to you by the brother Mashaba via Albuquerque and San Antonio. And that's blogtalkradio.com/MASHAHBA. Okay, so blogtalkradio.com/Mashaba every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday at 9:30 a.m. If you're in the San Antonio, Austin, Texas, or Albuquerque, New Mexico areas, and you like class, hit us up, and we'll get you the times and the days, okay? We do have brothers, Priest Kazakia, and two other brothers are out in Arizona. They're out in Phoenix and Scottsdale, Arizona, for the Arizona State Fair, okay? So if you know anybody that wants class, any counseling, whatever, we're there to do it. The brothers are there. So you want class, they can set that up. Okay, they're out there, they're passing out flyers to different little communities and things like that. So with the fair, or as well as with the fair, brothers are out there doing flyers, all right, trying to get the word out. So if you want class and you're in Phoenix, Arizona, Scottsdale area, I'm not too familiar with the geography, but hit us up, and we will get you in contact with the brother Priest Kazakia that's out there in Arizona right now. They'll be there until November the 3rd. Okay, November the 3rd, and they'll be headed back here. For any other announcements, what we got? The sisters are going to be doing a hot plate this upcoming Sabbath. So after class, they'll be selling hot plates to raise money for the school. Okay, the sisters gonna be doing that. As you guys know, the brothers, we have our own business out in First Colony Mall, which is in Sugar Land, Texas. So if you're local and you want to support, going over to First Colony Mall, get you them smell goods. Okay, we got your aromatherapeutic and body oils, as well as all natural soaps and things of that nature. Okay, so if you want to support that way, you can do it like that. For our live classes, you can check us here on YouTube as well as Facebook Live. Okay, YouTube is ISB HPK. The Facebook Live is Israelite School of Biblical History and Practical Knowledge. Okay, that's for the live. For our past and pre-recorded classes, we have Israelite School of Biblical History and Practical Knowledge. We have our 5 Minutes of Wisdom. We also have our ISB HPK Kids channels. Okay, so please like, share, subscribe to the channels, share them, like the videos. That way we can get the word out. We want to just keep getting the word out. If you got people that have questions, and you don't have all the information, you can send them a link to a class, and that could further edify. Okay? Look out for our Hidden Truth Cable Show, Saturdays, local Comcast Channel 17, or you can stream it live on hmstv.org. We've actually done our first episode. We've uploaded it to the Israelite School of Biblical History and Practical Knowledge channel. Okay, so go ahead and like, share, subscribe that, proving that the so-called Mexicans are the tribe of Issachar, without a shadow of a doubt. So if you doubt it, go ahead and check out the video, like, share, and subscribe. That's it. If you doubt it, right? If you had a doubt in your mind, we dispel those doubts. All right. Okay? For any garments, that you may need, any armbands, I just got these made. Sisters do a real good job, man. Armbands, headbands, anything you need fringed. Again, you can go on Facebook, search Israel Wear, and they'll get you any custom garment that you might need. Okay? If you need to reach a teacher during class, please text only. After class, you can call. You can reach Priest Kazakia at 281-707-2737. Just remember that he is out of town, okay, handling business for the school. So if he doesn't get back to you right away, just hit me up. 303-557-8979. Someone will get to you, okay? We get a lot of questions just on the text, the email. So we'll definitely, we don't stray away from questions. We definitely try to answer all questions as they come. It's just we can't get to every single thing right away on the dot. So just be patient with us. We appreciate y'all asking. We appreciate y'all hitting us up. It's not a burden. This is the duty. This is part of the ministry. This is that Romans 12:1. Present yourself as a living sacrifice. So we try to make sure that we do it efficiently as possible, okay? So again, you can hit us up, Priest Kazaki at 281-707-2737. You can reach me at 303-557-8979. You can email us at isbhpk@isbhpk.org, okay? For emails, any questions and concerns, for your contributions, we appreciate them. Whatever it may be, again, to the Sister Dorothy Branch, we got the package you sent us. She sent like some cups and some tea. Brothers drink tea, and we try to stay healthy. So, it's a beautiful gesture. So we appreciate that. For those that have been helping with the school vow, they're trying to, keep the school running and lights and rent paid. We definitely appreciate it. It's helping. So we want to say the water, thank you. And whatever you want to give monetarily, we have the Wells Fargo account number as well as the Google Wallet. If there's something like, whatever, books, pens, papers, you can mail them directly to the school. Once again, it's 8524 South Braeswood Boulevard, Houston, Texas, 77071. Okay? That should be it for the announcements, right? Man, it's cold up in here. Wow, it's crispy. It's crispy. I'm sorry, I get cold. Yeah, I'm sorry. I get cold real easy.
This is on 73.
Yeah, you can move that up a few notches.
75.
Yeah, 75 is good. I'm a more 80 guy, but yeah.
60.
Yeah, turn that up a little bit. Before we even get into class, wanted to go into this question that the sister online from Philadelphia, she was hitting us up and asking, and just wanted to clear up. Because, when we text a lot of times, or some of the time, it can, just trying to understand the texting, it can get a little confusing. So I wanted to go through about showing the new year, okay? And how do we determine the new year? What does it go according to? You have where these modern fake Jews, they celebrate the new year, the ecclesiastical year, but they also have a civil year, okay? Now, when you're in America, what do they have? They have a physical year. They have the new year, which is in January. So there's all these different, what is the new year? What is all all these meanings of fiscal year, civil year, ecclesiastical year. So we're going to go through it because I think there was some confusion with the Sabbath reading. And as those of you that have been with us, you see that we've started over the Torah reading. We're back in Genesis. So I think there's some confusion because, you know, we started in Genesis back in April. 6 months later, we're back in Genesis because we read from Genesis to Deuteronomy. So the Torah is always part of the reading where you get the other parts of the Bible. So I'm going to go through some of these definitions, break down the new year, what is determined by, what does it mean by civil year, ecclesiastical year, okay? So let's go to Exodus 12 and verse 1, and let's just, you know, clear up any confusion that there might be about. It's just what it is. It's just terminology, and there's one that we follow and there's one that we don't.
Okay.
So let's go to Exodus chapter 12 and verse 1.
Exodus chapter 12, verse 1.
Uh-huh.
And the Lord spake unto Moses
Come on.
and Aaron in the land of Egypt, saying, This month shall be unto you the beginning of months.
Right. So we're understanding that you read through Exodus, this is us leaving out of Egypt.
Okay.
Right? So Exodus 12 and 1 is now, Moses, through the Spirit of the Most High, has already parted the Red Sea. So the Most High is now setting things up in order. Okay? So in verse 2 of Exodus, read it one more time.
Verse 2. This month shall be unto you the beginning of months.
Okay, so he's letting us know this is going to be the beginning of your months. Forget about what you learned in Egypt. Forget about their 10-day calendar. Forget about their 10-day work week. Forget about what they call the months of the year. This is going to be your new beginning. This is the beginning of your months. Now, what month did he say that was? Read.
It shall be the first month of the year to you.
Go ahead.
Speak ye unto all the congregation of Israel.
Right.
Saying, in the 10th day of this month, they shall take to them every man a lamb.
Right. So obviously it's going to go into the Passover. Okay. So we know that the Passover, the 10th day of the first month begins the Passover, which is, or the 10th day of this month that it's talking about is the first month. So let's go into the Zondervan. We're going to the Zondervan Pictorial Bible Dictionary. Okay. We read from it all the time. Dictionary, just like what it states. It's not the Bible. Okay, it's a dictionary that defines the words. So we're going to go on to page 281. Basically, you're going to look up feasts.
Good.
Okay, and you're going to read
feast.
Well, you could actually go to page 281 and just, what's that? Yeah, that's where, right there.
Okay.
So it says Passover, special day, Passover. What month is that?
Nisan, or April.
Nisan or April, or we know it as Abib. Okay? So we're understanding that the first feast that we celebrate, according to Exodus, was Passover. Okay? So it said this was going to be the first month. So the first month of the Hebrew calendar that the Most High ordained was Nisan or Abib, which would be in the Gregorian calendar, or the calendar that we use today would be the month of April. Okay? So you gotta understand, when you're in America, you're rolling with a different calendar as opposed to what we had back in Moses' time with the Most High set up, or even what these fake Jews use now, because they go by the first month, the first feast being Passover. They use that as their true New Year. They even know that. Okay, so we're understanding that the Passover is the first feast on our first month.
Good.
Okay, now let's look up ecclesiastical year, and I actually have it already here. Ecclesiastical year Because you have an ecclesiastical year, you hear that terminology, or you have a civil year. Now, I'll read it here, and it's simple. You just Google it. It says ecclesiastical calendar, a calendar based on the lunar cycle, used in churches in determining the dates of the feasts. So, how did we understand when our feasts were coming up? What do we use?
The moon.
We use the moon. Go to Ecclesiasticus 43 and verse 6.
How do you spell ecclesiastical?
It's ECCLESIAS.
So it's like spelling ecclesiastic.
Ecclesiastic. Yeah, Ecclesiastes.
Okay.
But ecclesiastical. Read that. Ecclesiasticus 43 and verse 6.
Ecclesiasticus 43 and verse 6.
Go ahead.
He made the moon also to serve in her season.
He did the what?
Made the moon to also serve in her
So
season.
the moon is for our service. Okay, what service was that? Was it for us to worship? To give service to the moon? No, the moon was made for us to tell us seasons, times. We weren't supposed to worship the moon. It was for man's service. Go ahead.
For a declaration of times.
For a what?
Declaration of times.
Go ahead.
And a sign of the world.
Read on.
Verse 7. From the moon is a sign of feast.
For a moon is what?
From the moon is the sign of feast.
You see that? The moon gives the signs of feast days. So if you deal with this ecclesiastical year, we base things off the moon. Okay? You know, and we definitely got to do a class going in depth into the full moon, the new moons, and the differences and how you calculate. But see, there's a problem with that, because as we go further into this, we'll see that there's a problem with even trying to calculate all that, because why? The Gregorian calendars, the Greco-Roman calendars, they change the times, like the scriptures tell us. They add days, they take away days, they tell you the new moon is this, they tell you it's not this. So the leap years, right? You have 366 days instead of 65? You know, but think about it. If a new moon is supposed to be every 30 days, how do you have 31 days in a year? How do you have 28 days in a year? You see how they do that? Where it causes confusion. So, read on. Where you at in Ecclesiasticus?
Verse 7, last precept.
Uh-huh.
A light that decreaseth in her perfection.
Go ahead.
Verse 8.
That's it on that. So, we're seeing that the moon was meant to let us know the signs of the feast days. So that's dealing with the ecclesiastical calendar, or the ecclesiastical year. Now let's jump back to the Zondervan, because we got to bring this out. Now, when you jump back to the Zondervan Pictorial Bible Dictionary on page 281, go down to Tishri, October. Go down to that real quick.
God. Tishri, October.
Uh-huh.
The Feast of Trumpets.
Right. Go ahead.
Rosh
Hashanah.
Hashanah.
Right.
Beginning of the civil year.
Right. So it says the beginning of a civil year. And then right underneath that, you got Day of Atonement.
God.
Okay, so it says civil year. But the problem with that is you can't find civil year in the Bible. A civil year is this. It's a 365-day point to another 365 days. So the perfect example would be, and I'm not saying that it is, I think this is where some of the confusion comes in, where the Day of Atonement, right? It's every year, once a year. So you can say that's a physical year. But you know where they came up with this, or excuse me, that's where you can say that's a civil year. Now, these fake Jews, they came up with the civil year. When you define it, they try to say that that's the time when God created man, like it gave a time. Now, when you read through Genesis, it don't give a time in months. It says first day, second day, third day, fourth day, fifth day, right? It don't say the Most High created man in the month of Abib, or the Most High created man in the month of Tishri. It don't say that. It said on the fifth day, fourth day, things were created. So man, say, you know what? We're going to pick a specific time when God created man. So when you look up civil year, that's what the definition is, where it says this is the time that was chosen that God created man. But what's the problem with that? For one, it's not biblical. Right? So let's go to Daniel 7 and verse 25. What's that?
I was just thinking, like, if every moon cycle is 30 days, then it's impossible for there to be 365 days in a year.
Yeah, because 30, 60, 90, 90, 90 is 180. Right, and then you do the math.
What is it like?
It's 360.
360?
Yeah.
So that means that
they add an extra 5 days per year.
And if they've been doing that since that time, then we're like all the way thrown off.
Right. But we got into this discussion a couple of Sabbaths ago, like, come on, man. If they've been adding days to the calendar, we're all thrown all the way. We don't know what
house you are, you don't know what zodiac you are.
Right, but how do we know what the times are?
Damn, that's true.
We look at the signs in heaven. We look at the wars, the rumors of war. We look at the activity in nature. That's how we know what times we're in. Like we went through that day of the day of the Lord, day of destruction. And how do we know the time is near? Because of all the famine, the pestilence, the wars, the earthquakes, tornadoes, hurricanes.
Lack of morals.
Lack of morals. Men will be lovers of themselves, right? This is how we determine that the time is short. Time is nearer than we know.
It was just a mega earthquake in Russia.
Oh, are you serious?
Yeah, I saw it on the way when I was on my way home from work on the RT News. Popped up on my thing. A 6.8 earthquake hits off Kuril Islands in Russia, Far East.
Wow.
And then you got the Hurricane Michael going on. That's destroying, tearing up Florida. It's like
There's a hurricane out there?
Yeah, Hurricane Michael in Florida right now.
Wow.
It's raining really bad.
It's like worse than Harvey, I think.
Are you serious?
It's bad.
I've been staying away from the news. I'm terrible. I need to get more on my news. But when you look up civil year, which when you read it in the Zondervan, that's going off of the Gregorian calendar. So check this out. When you define civil year, it says in the Gregorian calendar, divided into 12 calendar months, a calendar year or a civil year. So that's all it is, where they decided we're going to pick this day as the day when God created the man, and every year we're going to say that's the new year. So they have 2 New Years. Now, check this out. In America, they have what? They have in April, they have the physical year or the fiscal year. That has to do with what?
Business and economy.
Business. That's their new year in economy and taxes. So you see how they add these things? What the hell's a fiscal year?
Yeah.
How come they don't just make it all the same day?
Yeah.
How come they all just make it in April like the scriptures say?
Yeah.
But they add it, watch, this is why they do it. Read Daniel 7 and verse 25.
Daniel chapter 7, verse 25. And he shall speak great words against the Most High.
Right.
And shall wear out the saints of the Most High.
Go ahead.
And think to change time.
He shall do what?
Think to change time.
Right, they wearing us the hell out because we don't even know what time it is. We don't know the exact time and day. We don't know if we in 2019, 2020. We could be in 2025 for all we know. Because they've added days, taken away days, changed the calendar. The Sabbath ain't the Sabbath. There's this many days in February. There's this many days in June. You see my point? What the scriptures tell us. They're trying to wear us out. How do they do it? The easiest way to do it is change the time. Change the days. Add days. You're going to get worn down because you're going to think the time is shorter and you look up, you're like, nope. Damn, time is longer. You don't think time is longer? Nope, time is shorter. We don't know how they got us. But the faith is what keeps us going. And most importantly, it's about the simplicity of Christ, the simplicity of the scriptures. And let's just do what the Bible says. If the Most High says in Exodus that, and somebody get Deuteronomy 16 and 1, if Most High says in Exodus that the first month, this is going to be your first month, and it's the month of the Passover, when we celebrate it, let's stick to that. I don't care about no other new year. I don't care about January the 1st. You know, when you look at January the 1st, January the 1st will be considered a civil new year or a civil year because we're going off the Gregorian calendar, and that's when they determine a new year is, January the 1st. We know that's not true, right? January the 1st ain't no new year.
And like how I thought about it was, it's like, just like, not gonna say common sense because but like in January or December, the earth is all dead. There's no
there's no life.
The springtime is when the earth renews itself. It's like it only makes sense that would be the actual new year versus when the earth is completely dead. There's no crops growing. You know, animals are hibernating.
Yeah.
You know, like to me that made sense.
Season of death.
Yeah, it's a season of death.
Where the Passover is a season of life. April is what? April is spring. That's when everything is renewing itself. You see, so you know you got to look at it. Was the Most High? Was Christ? Were they about death? They were about renewing. When we got pulled out of Egypt, and he said, "This is going to be the time of your new month, your new year." That was the renewing. He was showing that this is new. Forget about the whole point of the law. The whole point of him pulling us out of Egypt and giving us our own standard according to everything was so that it was new. So that we were washed away with all the filth of Egypt and we were renewed in Christ. Put off the old man, put on the new. What do you think? That's what the whole Exodus was about. It was about, and the whole getting the law, being in the wilderness 40 years. That was what the whole thing was about. Was, if you look at it spiritually, it was about putting off that old man and putting on the new man renewed in the knowledge. Y'all get that?
Go ahead.
Where you at?
I was still at Daniel chapter 7 and 25.
Go ahead.
I'm going to start from the precept I left off.
And
think to change times and laws.
Right.
And they shall be given into his hand.
Right.
Until a time and times and the dividing of time.
Right. So y'all get that where they're trying to change times, man. Go to Mark 7 and verse 6. Before we go there, go to Deuteronomy real quick. I missed the scripture. Go to Deuteronomy 16.
Verse 1.
And verse 1, I believe. Go ahead.
Deuteronomy chapter 16, verse 1.
Observe the month of Abib.
The month of what?
Abib. Or Nisan. Go ahead.
And keep the Passover unto the Lord.
Right. So the month of Abib, or the Passover, was in the month of Abib, which is the first month of our year. Forget about this Greco-Roman calendar. Forget about January 1st. Forget about the fiscal new year. Forget about the civil new year. We're dealing with our Hebrew Israelite New Year, which is around the Passover. Okay? Everything else is not biblical. It's not scriptural. There's nothing to support that there's a civil year. It's made up. Go to Mark 7 and verse 6.
Mark chapter 7 and verse 6. He answered and said unto them, well hath Esaias prophesied of you hypocrites.
Right?
As it is written.
And this is not like a shot to anybody, but we just got to see that where all these different traditions of men and all these different times and dates that they try to throw out, this is where we get let off, man, if we don't hold to the simplicity that's in Christ. Go ahead. What you gonna say?
And then you can't even just keep up with Esau's, like, even like this, the holidays. Like today is supposed to be National Mental Health Awareness Day. So I'm seeing everybody.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's like every day it's a National Hot Dog
National
Day.
Donut Day.
National Best Friend Day. National Boyfriend Day was last week.
But yeah, what is it? But all that is meant to do what, man? Keep you on social media, keep you out the scriptures, keep you out of studying. You see what I'm saying? That's what that's all meant to be. That's why everything's a national this. Who made it like that? The one that's trying to wear you down. Esau. Trying to wear your ass out with trying to keep up with all the Snapchat filters and I gotta post this on Instagram to show I support this day, and who got time for that? If you in this word, if you're abiding in your labor, you ain't got time to keep up with National Sibling Day. Or National, the other day it was like National Sunday. Meaning if you had a son, and then what you gotta do? You gotta post a picture on social media. That's retarded, man. Yeah, and then what, you do that every year? Nah, we ain't got time for that. We got the holidays that the Most High set up, but most importantly, he made it simple. Okay. He said, listen, the month of Abib, which is April, that's your new year. That's the first month of the year, and then go from there. Go ahead.
As it is written, this people honoreth me with their lips.
Go ahead.
But their heart is far from me.
And that's the problem with our people, man. I believe. But our heart, we honor with the lips. But our heart is far away from the Most High. You'll put you'll go bust off fireworks January 1st, and you'll get in there and you'll blow your fingers off for the sake of this holiday, this New Year's, but What about the Passover? Brothers won't show up for that. You'll run to church. January 1st. What they say, black people only go to church on Easter and New Year's. Right? Gotta get your Easter outfit, gotta get your New Year's outfit.
Watch night service.
You gotta go ahead, yeah, like I gotta go ring in the New Year. No, you don't. You're ringing in the dead. Go ahead.
Howbeit, in vain do they worship.
Yeah, it's vain, man. These holidays, this civil year, this fiscal year, this January 1st, it's all vain. The Bible tells us, the scriptures tell us what it is. Go ahead.
Worship me, teaching for doctrines.
He said National Coon Day. Wow, go ahead.
The commandments of men.
Right, and these are man-made traditions, man. It's a commandment of man to follow some civil New Year. It's a commandment of man that they're talking about. Oh, this is the Most High created man in October. They don't say that in the scriptures. The hell does it say that? It don't say that. So we can't hang our hats on that at all. We just got to follow what the Bible says. Go ahead.
Verse 8. For laying aside the commandment of Yahweh, ye hold the tradition of men.
Go ahead.
As the washing of pots and cups and many other such like things ye do.
Go ahead, verse 9.
And he said unto them, full well ye reject the commandment of Yahweh.
Yeah, and this is what we have to stop doing, is rejecting the commandment of the Most High in Christ, where, again, they set it down for us, man. Give me that one, the simplicity in Christ. Give me that one. They set it down for us, man. They set it down. They made it easy. You know, what is it, 2 Corinthians what?
It's 2 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 3.
Yep.
But I fear, lest by any means, as the serpent beguiled Eve through his subtlety.
Go ahead.
So your mind should be corrupted from the simplicity that is in Christ.
Right. See, it's telling you that your minds are going to be corrupted from the simplicity. When we try to go all super deep into it, and you know, we get our minds off what's easy to do. What's the easiest thing anybody can do? Just follow. Right? That's the easiest thing a man can do. When you come in, you know, when you're a soldier, when you're a trooper, oh, what is it? Just follow. It's easy. You ain't got to make no life-threatening decisions. You don't got to call the shots. All you got to do is just follow the order. The Most High laid it down for us to just follow. Listen, first month of the year, April. And guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to actually put a feast day for y'all to remember. If there's any confusion, the Passover is the first of your year. But then what we do as man, we're like, well, that's not good enough. I'm going to add something. So we got to do a civil year because we got to commemorate when the Most High created man. We got to do January 1st. We got to come up with this holiday, that holiday. We got to commemorate this anniversary. We got to have the commemoration of this. And we make it not simple. That's what corrupts us. Trying to keep up with everything, where he made it easy for us, man. Go ahead.
And he said unto them, full well ye reject the commandment of Yahweh.
Go ahead.
That ye may keep your own tradition.
And that's the problem, man. We don't want to get into where we're following the tradition of man and keeping man's tradition. Okay, we want to make sure that that's not going on, and that's all it is, man. Civil year, physical year, all these holidays, that's man tradition. So for the sister that's out in Philly, hopefully that clears it up. And again, and then you know, with the Sabbath reading, this is what you got to understand about the Sabbath reading. There's 5 books in the Torah. Okay, the majority of the Sabbath reading is the Torah. So perfect. Last week we read from Genesis chapter 1 and verse 1 to Genesis chapter 6 and verse 7. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's another 7 chapters. So yes, we did start the reading in Genesis back in April. But we're already 6 months. We're already 6 months into our year. So we read all the way from Genesis to Deuteronomy already. So what happens is we cycle through where we'll read Genesis to Deuteronomy, but then the other scriptures that come in, like the scriptures in Matthew, the scriptures in Romans, the scriptures in Isaiah, they're not going to be the same scriptures that we already read. We're going to get a whole nother cycle of scriptures That's how the Torah reading goes. But it wouldn't be a Torah reading without the Torah. So what happens is you repeat Genesis to Deuteronomy twice. All the other scriptures you don't repeat. So you do end up going through the scriptures in that year, but you end up reading the Torah 2 times in the year. So I think there was some confusion there, like why are we starting back over in Genesis? Well, because we read from Genesis to Deuteronomy already. It took 6 months to do that. You got to see that again. During the Torah reading, we read the bulk is from the Torah. You read 6 chapters in the Torah, then you might read 2 chapters or a chapter in Isaiah and a few verses in the New Testament. And that's the reading. So we get the bulk. So you are going through the Bible. You're just reading the Torah 2 times in the year. Genesis to Deuteronomy in 6 months. Then you come back in Genesis again to Deuteronomy, but different scriptures. Gotcha. So hopefully that clears that up. Let's go to Matthew's. Let's go to Matthew's. I definitely want to get into this class. Let me see. That's why they call April the first April Fool's Day. Why do they call April's the Fool's Day? I never got that. I never understood that. Why do they call it April Fools?
I have no idea.
Let's see, biblically a month is 30 days, right, with 12 months. Because the moon has 12 cycles. 360 days, yeah. But think about it, why do we got 365? Exactly. It don't make sense, right?
Exactly.
It don't make sense. So, question, are we supposed to acknowledge the feast on the new moon days? I've seen other camps do that too. Now, again, we got to get in depth and do more research on, I think that the confusion is when is the actual new moon? Is it when the moon's dark or when it's shining? That's the confusion. That's why some camps, you'll see that their feast day starts a day after some camps or a day before, because I think there's a confusion in all of Israel, and we got to get in and do some research of when is an actual new moon. Is it when the moon is dark or when it actually is that big full circle? So I think there's a little bit of, different opinion amongst all Israel. So that's why you get where brothers will celebrate their feast day a day off and do it like that. Let me see here. Shalom, thanks for explaining. Okay, okay, sis, so I'm glad you got that. Just want to make sure you got that. Thanks for hitting me up to let me know. Shalom to you too. So yeah, as far as the celebrating on the new moon, again, we're gonna put together a nice class. That might be a nice cable show to go into. We just gotta get some time to go in and just get the research. You know how we do it. We don't like to bring too much out without actually having it backed up and verified. Because we don't want to have to come back and be like, oh, that was wrong. That wasn't right. So we want to just research it and then get back to y'all. National, okay. Made it confusing. That's right. Esau wants our money. Glad you're doing this class. I get sidetracked and need to know more about our traditions. Is the book of Jasher included? No, we don't. The book of Jasher is not scriptural. Why? Because it contradicts. Just like your book of Enoch, book of Adam and Eve, and there's many other books. When you go and you start reading. Books of Moses. Yeah, I mean, you got so many books, man. You got a lot of books that are biblical that were written that we don't have. Okay, but it's like the book of Jasher. It doesn't line up. There's too many discrepancies with the scriptures, just like the book of Enoch. There's too many discrepancies. So, it's like the scriptures say, go to Corinthians. Prophesy in part, you got that?
Yeah.
It's Corinthians.
I was thinking about Ecclesiastes when it says we rarely make that many books.
Go there. Go there and then go to Ecclesiastes. You got it? I think it's Corinthians.
Got it. 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 12.
See, read that.
For now we see through a glass darkly.
Right. See, think about it. You look through a glass darkly. Your vision is not 100% there, right? You can see a little bit. Right? Go ahead.
But then, face to face. Now I know.
Jump up to verse 9. Yeah. Verse 9.
1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 9.
Go ahead.
For we know in part.
Yeah, see, we know in part. We have the part. We have Bible, Apocrypha, all these other books that help bring out the edification. We know in part. We know there's other books that have been written, but we don't have them.
Right.
So we got to deal with the part that we do have. Go ahead.
and we prophesy in part.
So we know what we prophesy. We teach what we know. Go ahead.
But when that which is perfect is come,
go ahead.
Then that which is in part shall be done away.
Right. So when Yahushua comes, he's going to take away the part and give us the whole story. You're going to know what books belong, but it's going to be in you. But we know right now, dealing with the book of Jasher, Enoch, Adam and Eve, there's too many, and I'm going to use the word, contradictions. Where when you go to the scriptures, there is no contradiction. From Genesis to Revelation, even when you throw the Apocrypha in, which we know is part of the Bible, it doesn't contradict. It doesn't raise the eyebrows and make things confusing. Because why? God is not the author of confusion, but of peace to all the saints. So if it's talking about, men stood up on mountains and shot arrows into the sky and blood from the sky, where is that in the Bible? Where's that in the scriptures at? That don't make it don't repeat that anywhere else in the Bible. Even when dealing with the book of Enoch, when you go into Jude, it said Enoch prophesied. It didn't say he wrote a whole book. And then when you go into the book of Enoch and you start breaking down Ezazel, the angel, and when he taught men how to work with brass and iron, but then he came after Tubal Cain, and Tubal Cain was a proficiency in brass and iron. It's like, wait a minute, that don't add up. Don't make sense. And that's just one part. You go before you even crack. I mean, we did a class on the book of Enoch. You could crack that book open and just read like the little introduction, and it'll tell you not to read it. Tells you that the book, don't read it. It was, the book was written. It had many authors, So again, if it don't line up, go to Isaiah real quick. Go to Isaiah. You know what I want? What do I want?
I think 34:16.
Yeah, go to Isaiah 34:16. That's it.
God, Isaiah chapter 34, verse 16.
No, Isaiah 8 and 20, and then Isaiah 34:16. Isaiah 8 and 20.
God, Isaiah chapter 8, verse 20. To the law and to the testimony.
Right. So to the law, which was dropped by Moses, and all the testimonies of the apostles and all the great men and women, because that's what the Bible is their testimony of things they saw. Right? Go ahead.
If they speak not according to this word.
Right. If the book of Jasher speak according to this word, because it don't. It contradicts Enoch. Go ahead.
It is because there is no light in them.
Yeah, it's because they have no wisdom. There's no wisdom in these books. So we got to stay away from them. Go to Isaiah 34:16.
Isaiah chapter 34:16.
Was that it?
God, I had a question.
What's that?
I mean, I've never read those books.
Yeah.
But I like what you just said, how there's no wisdom in it. So I was wondering, like I don't know if y'all read it, but is it just like a book of knowledge?
What it is, they're set up like the book of Enoch and these books. They're set up like the Bible. They have like books, chapters, and verse. They have it like that. But see, the problem is where just because it's written like it's the scriptures, don't mean that it is the scriptures. Because if you can find something in there that goes totally off with what the Bible says, then it's like, wait a minute, we can't use none of this.
I've actually read a little bit of it.
Yeah.
It's no wisdom in that book. It's trash, garbage.
It's like,
but see, for some people it is wisdom.
Yeah. You might as well just read the book of Mormon then.
But even that is set up like the Bible, right? But
Same thing.
But when you read the Book of Mormon, what happens? You get into the Book of Jerome. Jerome's a pimp. First of all,
2 Nephi 21 tell you that the God cursed us with black skin.
Yeah, but when you read, it's the curse of Canaan, right? It goes through all that. It's a curse to have black skin. When you go, Jehovah's Witnesses, right? They got their own. They got a Bible, the same exact Bible, translated differently with scriptures pulled out. But see, it don't speak accordingly. It don't speak according to the testimony. Why? Because they changed it. So even the book of the New World Translation or NIV, you throw that out the window. Because there's no light in that book, even though it is the Bible, it's not. It's been changed.
It's like I was going to, like in 8 and 20, Isaiah 8 and 20, it says there's no light So we know like the wisdom is light,
right?
But the light is like how you deal with your people, like the moral and the civil laws that the Bible teaches you.
Right.
So
where's that in Enoch?
That's what I was. That's in Jasher. That's kind of like what I was asking. Like this, like the Bible and even like.
Because there is no law and testimony. Yeah, there is no law and testimony.
Yeah.
And Enoch is like, it just goes through this story. It talks about the angel Azazel, and I haven't read the whole thing.
That's what I was asking. Like, is it just like a book about knowledge?
It is. It talks about like mermaids turning into men coming down sleeping with angels, and then. But
I ain't trying to be like facetious or like that, but the cats I've encountered, like my old coworker.
Right. Bring it out.
You reading this stuff because you really want to come across and you got some deep knowledge. When you have it, and you ask these cats, I've done it like the 3 or 4 people that have been in the book of Enoch. Well, have you read the entirety of the scriptures? None of them ever can answer me yes.
No. The problem is this. The problem is this. You got the book of Enoch and Jasher and Jubilees and book of Adam and Eve down, but you can't even go to. You don't even know how to go to use Matthew the 18th chapter when it says if your brother offends you, go to him. You got all these other books down, but your brother offends you, and what happens? You don't follow Matthew the 18th chapter, but you know all the names of the constellations. You know the names of every angel. You know what angel fell down and slept with women. Does that matter?
Exactly.
It don't matter. That's why it says knowledge puffeth up. Knowledge puffeth up, but charity edifieth. It also tells you about and they just quoted it, Ecclesiastes 12 and 12. We're going to go there, to making of many books. Right? Go there real quick. Did we finish?
Oh, yeah. Isaiah 34:16 we never read.
Read it. Isaiah 34:16.
Isaiah chapter 34 verse 16. Seek ye out of the book of the Lord.
Seek ye out of the who?
The book of the Lord.
Go ahead.
And read.
Read.
No one of these shall fail.
Yeah, none of the prophecies. And we got a nice class on the prophecies. We got a nice class coming up on that. Real nice. Drop that one of these Sabbaths. But it says it. No one of these shall fail. Not one precept. Not one prophecy, not one law. Not one part of the testimony is going to fail. Go ahead.
None shall want her mate.
And there is no mate. There is no, let me get the other half. Let me get the next best thing. There is no mate. There is no side by side to the Bible. So all these books that we use, you know, the Josephus and the Zondervan, right? And all these dictionaries, these aren't the mates to the Bible. They are what they are. The Josephus is a history book. The Zondervan is a dictionary. This is the other mate to the Bible because they took it out. So we know it goes right in there. We can line it right in.
You got the original is in there.
And even, if you got the original 1611, but even when you go into Zondervan, it tells you that the Apocrypha is part of it was part of the ancient original scrolls. So read on.
For my mouth it hath commanded, and his spirit it hath gathered them.
Right. So the Most High's mouth commanded this book, and his spirit gathered all the things that are in it. So anything else, that's tradition of men. Your Jasher, your Enoch, your Jubilees, your Adam and Eve. Listen, I got a list of books. You got the Exodus, Moses. You got the Apocrypha. You got Ecclesiasticus 1, 2, and 3. You got Maccabees 4, 5, 6. There's books. There's books out there that it's like, okay, this ain't biblical. I was reading one of them. I couldn't even get through the first book. It was talking about Yahweh Shai, and I was like, yeah, okay, that don't line up with the Bible. It's trying to go into his early life, but then as soon as you hit his all adult life, and it start going into some weird stuff, it's like, ooh, okay, that's not biblical. Let's put this down. But it's good to read it so you can know, like that don't go in the Bible.
I like to read them now because I feel like I'm more grounded. I realize it's BS, but at first I used to be scared because you look at these cats that do that, it's a wormhole of madness.
And that's how a lot of people, but again, go back to that Corinthians that we were in. 1 Corinthians, 15 and 3? 12, what was that? 13 and 3? Read that again.
1 Corinthians chapter 13. Verse 3.
Go ahead. Because this is the problem. This is we stray from what? The simplicity that's in Christ.
It's 11 and 3.
1 Corinthians 11 and verse 3. Read that again.
2 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 3. But I fear, lest by any means, as the serpent beguiled Eve.
See, how did the serpent beguile Eve? He hit her with all types of ye are gods. You ain't gonna die if you do this. He hit her with all he took away the simplicity of don't eat that, eat that. And was like, maybe you should eat that. Maybe you should partake in that knowledge. Maybe you should get that apple. Even though it wasn't an apple, right? Maybe you should eat the fruit. Maybe you should eat from that tree, right? He hit her with that instead of just, what did the Most High hit her with? Deal with this tree, don't deal with that tree. Simple. The simplicity. But she got beguiled through the complexity of Satan, through his subtlety. He'll come with all this complex knowledge, Book of Enoch, the fallen angels. He'll come with all these different books, and you're like, I got to read all of them. But guess what it does? You start reading, and if you're not grounded and rooted up in the Bible, guess what happens? You become a Book of Enoch follower.
Mad, because the same cat was still smoking weed.
Oh, yeah.
He came to me in the break room. Hey, I'm gonna drop something. Like he's dropping some heavy
wisdom on you.
Heavy wisdom. This dude was trying to tell me that damn chickens are of dinosaurs and they're unlawful to eat.
Yeah, you got brothers out there teaching that, but where they getting that from? They're getting that from these books that chickens are unlawful. Yeah, chicken will eat anything now because anything will eat anything now.
Yeah, I'm gonna say one thing. Maybe about 4 or 5 years ago, when I first started like waking up and want to know more, I read all that stuff.
Yeah.
I read the Kabbalah, read up on your chakras. I read Buddhism books.
Yeah.
I read the Luciferian doctrine. I read so many books, and man, it was so much stuff in my head, man. It's like I wanted to go crazy.
Yeah, because why? They all contradict each other.
Yeah,
there's no real wisdom to ground you and really shed light on your life.
Yeah.
But what are you dealing with now?
But seeking, all the time I was seeking the truth, it always brought me back to the
Bible.
Yep.
Because you learn that everything comes from the Bible. They just distort it in these other books.
That's that Ecclesiastes 12 and 12 is weird.
Yeah, read it.
Weirdness of flesh.
Read it. Read it. Read where we at in Ecclesiastes.
Ecclesiastes chapter 12 and verse 12. And further by these, my son, be admonished.
Right.
Of making many books, there is no end.
Yeah, there's always going to be a book popping up. There's always going to be some lost book found. They just talking about they found the other day the Book of Barnabas, right? Dead Sea Scrolls, right? I mean, they got the whole Dead Sea Scrolls collection, part 5. I'm telling you, I got a Word document with like 50 books that they say belong in the Bible.
The Book of Judas.
The Book of Judas.
That was in history.
You got the book of you got the Apocalypse of Enoch. No, the Apocalypse of Moses. You got I wish I could find this list. I have it in my Word. But bro, when I seen this list, I was like, what? That's crazy. And they coming out with new ones all the time. They coming out with new books all the time, man. Just doing like the little birthday class that we did, and doing the research on that, I was like, wow. All the books that I had to go through, I was like, this is madness. Because, and it's funny because a lot of these books say the same things, but then they give their twist on, just on birthdays. I think I went to 10 different books. You know, the Book of Lucifer, I had to go in there. I had to go into the book, Herodias, the virgin birth, the virgin life of Herodias. I had to go into these strange books, and if you're not rooted, you'll be sitting there worshiping constellations. You'll be like, oh, the Satanic Bible, let me get in that. And next thing you know, you're trying to implement that with the Bible. Like, yeah, see, that's doctrine. How come we, nah. Because does the Book of Enoch, Book of Jasher, do they have wording in there that does line up with the scriptures? Hell yeah. They got some stuff in there it'll edify in the Bible, and you're like, see, Esau is the white man. Esau is like, these books tell you that. But you still can't use them because the problem is you got brothers that have been using the Book of Enoch as its doctrine for so long, you can't use any part of that book now because it's not doctrine. So if you try to use one part, then it's like, well, I'm going to use the whole part. You know, I had this conversation with Kazaki a while ago. I'm like, bro, but there's scriptures in these books that edify the Bible. But why can't we use them? Because You got a man telling other men that this is doctrine, when we know damn well it's not. It's one thing if they would say, you know what, it's a good reference book or a good history book to bring out how we use the Josephus. Josephus lines up with the Bible, right? I'm going to go into the Josephus tonight if I get to my class. But it ain't the Bible. It's a history book that it helps to bring out or edify and help the edification in the Bible. And vice versa. I mean, in the Bible don't need no help. But history helps, right? History helps to show that the Bible is a history book. These other books, they're not doing that. Let's see here. Man, it's 8 o'clock. I want to hit this class. Who are the Ashkenazis? Ashkenaz. Those are your fake Jews that are over in Israel, man. The Ashkenaz Jews. That's who those are. They, mixed up with a little bit of Esau. Esau done took over the world, slept with everything. So your Ashkenaz are all your little white people, or your fake Jews that are in Israel now that they migrated over from Poland, German, mainly Poland. A lot of them Polish Jews are the Ashkenaz. What's that?
That question about the book of Jasher, was
Yeah.
that like a piggyback back from the question that was asked about the new moon, or
That was a separate question.
Okay.
Yeah, separate question.
There was one a little earlier.
Yeah, I seen that, Matthew 24. Let's hit it real quick. Matthew 24 and 20. What's the question on Matthew 24 and 20? Mustafa? Where it says, let not your flight be on the Sabbath day or in the winter.
That's it, but pray ye.
Pray ye that your flight be not in the winter or on the Sabbath day. I'm thinking.
Yeah.
That's it, right? Yeah. This is where Yahushua was prophesying. He was prophesying the destruction of
70 AD.
70 AD, the destruction of Jerusalem. So he was like, listen, man, you better hope it's not in the winter time. Or on the Sabbath day. Well, where we at?
Matthew chapter 24 and verse 20.
Let's start at
15?
Yeah, read
15 when you start.
World Witness. Yeah, read verse 15.
Matthew chapter 24, verse 15. When ye therefore shall see the abomination of desolation, spoken of by Daniel the prophet,
right,
stand in the holy place,
right.
Whoso readeth, let him understand.
Right, because it was prophesied by Daniel. Go ahead.
Then let them which be in Judea,
let them be where? That's where?
In Judea.
Come on.
Flee into the mountains.
Right. So Yahushua was saying, listen, if you in Judea, you need to flee to the mountains. Where do we flee?
West coast of Africa.
Was it the west? No, we flee to the east of Africa.
And we migrated west.
And then we migrated west. We got shipped off the west coast 1,500 years after this. But he said flee to the mountains. Go ahead.
Verse 17. Let him which is on the housetop not come down.
Right.
To take anything out of his house.
Go ahead.
Verse 18. Neither let him which is in the field return back to take his clothes. Verse 19. And woe unto them that are with child.
Right, go ahead.
And to them that give suck in those days.
Yeah, because when they destroyed Jerusalem, what did they do?
Eat the babies.
Babies was getting ate. It was prophesied when you go into Deuteronomy, right? The different sieges. When it said in the siege, you will eat your young. Yeah, when they took a city, it's not how they do it now. When we took a city, or when a city was taken back in this, what they would do was they would cut the city off from its resources. So they would circle the city, block off any food or water going in or out. So what they would do, because why? We had high walls, we had moats, right? So you couldn't get past the walls, and you know what a moat is, right? Drawbridge, and we had these things set up. So what would they do? They would encompass or compass a city and sit on the city for days, weeks, starve them out. What were we doing? We was eating our babies. It was prophesied. We did it during the time of the Maccabees. We did it 70 AD. When you go into the Josephus and you read about Titus and you read about all these Roman generals and how they destroyed the temple walls and the machinery they used, the first method was to starve us out. And then we so wicked it off, we ate our babies. We ate our kids. It's telling you here, both of them, that's what's up. Them babies are going to die. Or you're going to do something off and eat them. Because, you know, who wants to die of starvation? But then again, I don't want to eat my kids. I don't think I'd ever get to that level where I'm eating little Noah. You know, smacking my lips and dipping them in barbecue sauce. Right? Like y'all seen the movie Alive? Remember that movie back in the 90s? Where they was flying and they crashed. It was a true story. And they crashed in the mountains, and what's the first thing they did? They cut the dude's butt cheeks. They froze them, they cut the meat, and just start eating them. And they ate the dead bodies. It took them a while, a couple of days, but think about it. Christ, Moses, they went 40 days, 40 nights without food. So where's your spirit at? You starve for two seconds and you want to eat the whole house down. It's about spiritual strength. So it's just showing you that our spirits were weak even at these times. Why? We weren't following the laws. You see that? So he was just breaking it down during the 70 AD, what will befall us, and you don't want to be with no kids in this time. You don't want your flight. Think about it. We had to run. Think about how hard it would be in the wintertime. Think about it. You in the wintertime trying to flee somewhere, you cold. I know y'all know that it gets super cold in Israel. It gets cold during the wintertime. These months now, it's the rainy season. If I'm not mistaken, what is it, October, November? It's the rainy season. So the shepherds can't be out there with their herds because it's too cold for them. So they do get what you would call a winter. I'm not sure about any type of snow, but it definitely gets cold. So he was just saying, you better pray that it's not the winter time. Pray it's not the Sabbath day. What are we supposed to be doing on the Sabbath day? Running or resting?
Resting.
Right. So that's all it was. But let me see. Okay, God, I thought it was a end of times. Yeah, this was the 70 AD prophecy. That's why he said run to the mountains. Because think about it, end of times, we ain't gonna have no mountains to run to. The mountains are gonna be falling on the ones that run to the mountains, right? Like the scriptures say, they're gonna be praying for the mountains to fall on them. And then the mountains gonna be getting melted like wax. Yeah, there's not gonna be a mountain for us to run to. We're gonna have to pray that them chariots come and lift us up. That's the only deliverance we have. Okay?
That's it.
Oh, okay, I thought it was that probably. Thanks. Are they the same ones? Genesis 10:23.
You talking about the Ashkenazis?
Yeah. Oh, when it goes in about the sons of Japheth.
Yeah, it was Japheth's son.
Yeah, they are the same ones, but you got to remember they got mixed with Esau. We got to understand that Esau is in everybody. They mixed in with everyone. So yeah, they are the same ones, just mixed in there. There's a remnant of them in there. So, just like I wouldn't say wheat and tares because they mix with other nations. They mix with but Esau doesn't mix with everybody. So yeah, they're in Japheth. When you go to that Genesis 10 and verse, is it 23? Yeah, 24. No, what did he say?
2 to 3.
Oh, Genesis 2 and 3, where it talks about the isles of the Gentiles. Yeah. The sons of Japheth, Gomer, Magog, Madai, Juvan, Tubal, Meshech, and Taras.
10 and 3 too.
Yeah, and the sons of Gomer, Ashkenaz. Yeah. Esau is mixed in with them. Right? Then they look white. I mean, Japheth was Noah's son, right?
Dark.
What color was Noah?
Dark.
Noah's a dark-skinned man. So Noah had 3 sons. Were they going to come out light? Did Japheth come out white? Nah, Japheth was dark, so his kids was dark.
Okay.
But through mixing, hitting and dealing with Esau and all this different mixing, that's where you get these Ashkenaz that are mixed in with Esau. You get your Romans and your Germans and your Russians. And then even when you go into and I'm not gonna go into it, when you go into the prophecies of Magog and Gog, that's dealing with the land, not the actual people that's there. Because the people that are in the land aren't the people. That's what we gotta understand. Just how we're Israelites that are not in our land, it's the same thing. Okay. I still can wrap my mind around that. I'd rather die fighting than resort to eating a child. Yeah, I'd rather die fighting. I'd rather be like the Maccabees, man. I'll just starve and wither away. I'm not trying to eat little Noah or little Naomi. Right? I'm not trying to eat nobody's kid. I ain't doing that. So, but if that's it, man, let's get into this class. Got another decent one prepared. So, just speaking about, we're talking about a little bit of war just now. So, and I did this class a little while back. But as a reminder, I like to do reminder classes for us because, when you're in the midst of the battle, and I talked about this on Monday, when you're in the midst of the battle, man, sometimes if you don't remind yourself why you battle, why you fight, why you're in it, the battle will consume you. So this is just another reminder class that, we're in a war. Go to, I never started out the class the way I put the scriptures. Real quick, go to, what is that? We're in a war, man. What kind of war are we in? Who got the scripture? I don't know. Do you got it? Come on, man. How sharp is that? I know Lockerab's sword is sharp. 2 Corinthians 10 and verse 3. See, this is what we always got to remember, man. That, we as individuals, we all go through things on a daily basis, weekly, monthly, yearly, right? Con? We go through things, whether it be good or bad, and the Most High puts us through these wars to do what? To prove ourselves, to prove that we're worthy, to show us what manner of people we are, to show us our strengths, right? So we have to understand one thing, that we're here flesh. We're here flesh, blood, we bleed, we die. But the Bible tells us this. Read that. 2 Corinthians 10 and verse 3.
2 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 3.
Come on.
For though we walk in the flesh.
So though we walk in the flesh, you walk up and down. Again, you bleed, you cry, right? Bodily functions. You walk in the flesh. Go ahead.
We do not war after the flesh.
We don't war after the flesh. We don't exact our war the way the flesh wants us. What shall we do? Go ahead.
For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal.
Right. So we're in the flesh, but we got to not use the carnal weapons. We can't bust guns in this war. It ain't about busting guns and pulling out knives. But what is it about? Guarding yourself with them scriptures, right? Guarding yourself with the knowledge. Wisdom and knowledge should be the strength of salvation and the stability of thy times. Isaiah chapter 33 and verse 6. So we're understanding that the weapons that, first of all, it's telling us. Read verse 4 one more time.
Verse 4. For the weapons of our warfare are not.
Stop right there. We got to remember that we're in warfare. Every day you wake up, it's a war. It's a battle. Every day. If you don't have that in your mind that you're in a war, you are. What's up?
Now, one scripture.
What you got?
It's
You got all of them.
It's Exodus 13 and 18.
Stealing my scriptures, man. No, I'm playing. Go ahead, Exodus
13 and 18.
Hold where you at. Let's go to Exodus 13 and 18.
And it's just to show that from the time we left Egypt, we pretty much been in it. We got to be like in a war mind state, whether mentally or physically.
You said Exodus 13 and 18?
God.
Let's see it. Go ahead. Go ahead.
It says, but God led the people about through the way of the wilderness of the Red Sea, and the children of Israel went up harnessed out of the land of Egypt. And harness just means you're ready for war.
Right.
So like
yeah, by ranks.
Right.
Yeah, because why? The Most High, He was setting us up as an army. He set us up as a military, man. He set us up, even though we didn't realize it. We was war ready from the jump. He chose us to be kings and priests, but what king you know that can't fight? They know how to fight. Kings knew how to battle. They took their troops into war. So yeah, from the beginning we were set up as warriors. Right? So we always got to remember that when you rise and you open them eyes, man, that alarm clock go off, your first battle is not to hit the snooze button. That's the first battle. Don't hit snooze, wake up, and just keep it moving. Right? No, it's real, because you hit that snooze button, you just created a whole war for yourself. You hit that snooze, you fall asleep for 15 minutes, you wake up 15 minutes later thinking that you got some of the best sleep ever, and guess what? It was the wackest sleep ever. It makes you more tired. Then guess what happens? You create more of a war for your day.
You late for work, you get fired.
You late for work, you get fired, you get written up. Right? We create wars after wars after wars. So we got to understand that everything is spiritual. Even your damn alarm clock. Even the snooze button is a spirit. Where you got people, listen, we had a roommate, me and my rib, we had a roommate before we got back out here to Houston. Her alarm would go off for an hour. Hours before she was supposed to wake up. Or hours before she woke up. Snooze, alarm, snooze. Me, I ain't gonna lie. I get my snooze on, and I shouldn't. I do it at least once. But then after that, I'm like, okay, I can't keep snoozing. So it's weird, because in my mind, I'll fall asleep, and I'll wake up at like 7 a.m., and I'll look around. I'm like, okay, I got another hour to sleep. And I'll fall asleep for that hour and wake up. I'm programmed. It's weird. But we create little small battles, man, that turn into these big demons. Something as small as your snooze button. Trust me, y'all. Get rid of the snooze. Real. I'm telling y'all. Listen, if you know what I used to do? Alarm go off, I would just pop up and just start moving. Or I put the phone across the room. I used to have to do that back in the day. Put the phone across the room, get up and have to walk, it'll wake you up. And you just start moving. You'll find yourself waking up and being less groggy. That's just a little sleep tidbit. That's a sleep hack coming from the guy that don't sleep.
One of my coworkers showed me an alarm clock app where you have to play a game in order to...
You turn it off, and what does it do? It wakes your brain up. That's dope. Yeah. I mean, but why? Because they know the alarm clock, the snooze button ain't good for us. It creates that war automatically, like, damn, I gotta start my day. No, get the hell up and start it. Just get to it. Hop in the shower, wash your face, brush your teeth, get something to drink, get some water in you. Water wakes you up. As soon as you wake up, water, boom. I keep a bottle of water by the bed. I wake up, I chug it. That automatically just, oh, okay. It tells the body to start moving. Read on where you at.
God. 2 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 4. For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal.
Go ahead.
But mighty through God to the pulling down of strongholds.
Right. So we got to understand the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty. Why? Because there are some mighty problems in this world. There are some mighty brothers and sisters are captivated and held down by some mighty strongholds. So our weapons that we use have to be even mightier. But we have to realize that we're in a war. Now, there's something about war that when we read through the scriptures, the Bible tells us don't bring cowards to war. Why? Because they change the hearts of men. They make strong men faint. And, you know, as we go through this class, we're going to see, like, what's the point of us even fearing? What's the point of us not showing up for the battle? What's the point of being faint-hearted? What's the point of being scared? What's the point of being a coward? What's the point of having that coward mind state where I'm going to try to avoid the battle when we already got the war won? We got the greatest power on earth. Earth with an F. All right? And, you know, we got to remember that, man. I think sometimes, again, brothers and sisters be going through things and we be getting hit. But we forget who's putting us through that. Most High. Who's going to bring us through that? Most High. So, again, just a reminder, man, that, listen, Most High didn't give us that spirit of fear. Go to Ecclesiastes 37 and verse 11 in the Apocrypha. Ecclesiastes 37 and 11. Finish reading where you at in Hebrews real quick so we can just get that scripture out.
Oh, Corinthians.
Go ahead.
God, verse 5. Casting down imaginations.
Yeah, because a lot of brothers and sisters' war be imaginations in their head. It be evil suspicions. It be made up fables. You be having tales of Jewish fables in your head. You be doubting, right? You got misconceptions in your head. And they're all your vain imagination. Go ahead.
And every high thing that exalted itself against the knowledge of Yahweh.
And that's some things that some brothers are fighting against also. They're fighting against all these high things, all this high doctrine, all this high knowledge, supposedly, that's supposed to be better than the Bible. Well, I'm Kemet, right? I'm Buddhist. That's better than God. That's better than your Christian Bible, right? I'm such and such to the third shield general, right? Even though I don't use the scriptures. But my knowledge is greater. So there's always this battle there of this battle of knowledge, wisdom, what wisdom is greater. But see, the scriptures always come, and what does it do? It puts knowledges in place, and it shows that the Most High's knowledge is always supreme. Because you can break down a Kemet or Egyptologist. You can break down a Christian. How come Egyptologists can't break us down with any books?
Because this is the true book.
This is the true book. None shall want her mate. How come the Christians can't even break us down with the same book they use? Because you ain't using it right. How come the Quran, how come that don't come through and enlighten us?
Because they copy.
Because they copy, but they ain't copyright. Because ain't no salvation in the Quran. Ain't nobody being saved in the Quran. They tell them when you die, you're gonna go to heaven and have 50 virgins.
Ain't no prophecies.
Ain't no prophecies. But what about the women when they die? Oh, they just turn into the virgins, right? There's no prophecies that help. There's no comfort. You see that? So these are where these battles that every day we wake up and we're getting hit on Facebook with this doctrine and that doctrine. And this brother said this, and all of a sudden the so-called Jews are Hamites, and all of a sudden the tribes ain't Negro no more. They're all pale skinned. You know, it's all this that tries to exalt itself against true knowledge. And what is it? We got to battle that, right?
Good.
But what do we battle with? We battle with the Spirit of the Most High in the Scriptures. Go ahead.
And bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Christ.
That's what it's about. Filtering your thoughts through wisdom. Why do you think there's so much madness in the world? There's no filter. Whatever comes out of the mouth, I'm going to do. Or whatever I think, whatever I think I'm going to do. Where I might think something and say, whoa, hold on. Scriptures say, don't do that. Now I gotta make a decision. Do I follow the Bible, or do I follow my own obedience? Do I follow my own wisdom? Do I be obedient to Christ and the wisdom, or do I be obedient to my pride? That's the battle. But every day it's about going in here and saying, you know what? Let me help myself win. Let me help myself win the war. Let me help myself be motivated. Let me help myself be faithful, strong, rooted, not double-minded, faithful. Right? Go ahead.
Verse 6. And having in a readiness to revenge all disobedience.
Because this is what it's about. Being able to revenge the disobedience of others. But what do we have to do first?
When your obedience is fulfilled.
Right. You got to at least show that you're trying to get your disobediences fixed.
It's dope. Because it's showing like the only way that your obedience can get
speak on it.
The only way your obedience can get revenged by the Most High is by you actually going through the battles.
Yeah, the only way you can get somebody to be obedient is what? To the word, because many men speak the word, right? But how come they don't get through to people?
Because they're not showing it themselves.
What are they? Thank you. They gotta go through the battle. They gotta show up for the war. You can't be like, yeah, the Bible says blah 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 blah. And then you duck out, like, I can't do that part. Bible says, be strong, brother. And you the weakest man in the bunch? Nah, they gonna look at you like, this old weak ass dude, what's he talking about? You can't be a leader of men throwing out scriptures, but you can't live up to that.
That pushes people away from the scripture.
It pushes people away, but you know what it also does? It makes them faint-hearted and makes them get into that spirit of disbelief. Because how you gonna throw it out there but don't believe it? How you gonna try to check me with every single Bible verse on pride? You the most prideful cat. You prideful as hell trying to check me. It says when a man is taken in a fault, restore him in the spirit of meekness. When you restore me in the spirit of pride, forgetting that you might get hit by the pride demon. That's what it's about. We gotta be doing it. A lot of people don't come to the obedience of Christ through your example because you're not obedient. That's a coward. Y'all didn't know that, huh? That's a coward. They're looking at you like, you ain't even following what you're talking about. You ain't following that. That's cowardly. And then then what do they say? Well, that's my excuse not to follow. Because, as sad as it may seem, the world don't follow strength. The world follows weak niggas. Weakness. This whole world is weak. Because what do? They rely on drugs. They rely on alcohol. They rely on their car, their money, their house, their financial status, their whatever title they have at the job. They rely on that as their strength. That's what I'm gonna stand behind. My bank account. And nigga, when it's time for you to fight, your bank account can't save you. Your bank account don't save you. Your car can't save you. When them demons start hitting, the only thing that can save us is the wisdom. So it's very cowardice. The world runs to cowardice, and they run to the weak things. The weak. Watch. Go to watch the weak and beggarly elements. Let me get it real quick. Weak. This one just popped in my head. Weak elements. Bam. Bam. Go to Galatians 4:9. Go to Galatians 4:9, because what we're not understanding is that the world deals with weakness. The tough guy on the block that act like he's tough because he got some dough and he's slanging some drugs and he got like a little rusty 9 on him. He's a coward, because when it really stands up, when it's to make a man put you in push-up position and take this check through the scriptures, he's like, I ain't doing that, but I'll shoot a nigga. I'll put a bullet in you from far, right? But I'm not going to stand in front of you and tell you my problems. I'm not going to confess my faults to you. See, it takes a real man to be able to confess. It takes a real man to be able to fight a war with his brother and be locked in, arm in arm, and be the strength for another man. It says a brother is born for adversity, right? So it takes a real brother, a real man, to sit there and be the backbone, be the strength. The scriptures say be the strength for them that are weak. It takes a real man, a real woman, not a coward, to be the strength, to bear the infirmities of the weak. Cowards, they just talk about it like, yeah, I'm strong. What makes you strong? Your gun? Your money? Oh, my bad, you can bench 350. You got mad pull-up skills. You doing pull-ups on the stoplight. You doing park calisthenics. You got that jailhouse figure. You real heavy up top, real skinny waist and no legs. That make you strong? How about bench pressing some of these scriptures into your brain and then using them? That's real strength. Read where you at. Watch.
Galatians chapter 4 and verse 9.
Go ahead.
But now, after that, ye have known Yahweh.
Again, Isaiah 33 and verse 6. You're showing that, and I went here to show that, when we're pulled out of the world, what we're coming from. Go ahead.
Or rather are known of Yahweh.
Right, because those that are in the truth, we're known of the Most High, and we know the Most High. Go ahead.
How turn ye again to the weak and beggarly elements?
To the what?
Weak and beggarly elements.
Man. How are we going to turn to the cowardice? How are we going to turn to the weak and beggarly, cowardly elements, man? The things that they perpetuate and push strength, but it's not really strength. There's no strength in wickedness, man. There's no strength. I don't care how many guns you got. The Bible says no weapon formed against me shall prosper. Right? It says the weapons of our warfare are not carnal but spiritual. So forget about your rusty gun. Forget about your gun that's going to jam. Forget about your money. Forget about your drugs. Forget about your title. How about bearing the infirmities that are weak? How about Romans 12 and 1? Presenting your body as a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable. That's strength. How about following the laws and the commandments and not falling? You got brothers that are 12 years into the truth still fall into the pork spirit. My God, the pork still makes me weak, huh? They drive and talk about, let me go get a Baconator. You 12 years in, what the hell? Where's the strength at? you trying to get baconators, man. Come on. And trying to keep it on the low. Read where you at. Galatians.
Galatians chapter 4 and verse 9.
Come on, man.
But now after that ye have known Yahweh, or rather are known of Yahweh, how turn ye again to the weak and beggarly elements?
Go ahead.
Whereunto ye desire again to be in bondage.
And this is the problem with our people, man. Our people are so weak-minded. Our people are a bunch of cowards sometimes. You know why? Because they'd rather be in bondage to this society. They'd rather be in bondage to their woman. They'd rather be in bondage to Esau than to say, you know what? Let me break out. Let me step up to the war. Let me fight my battles the right way. And let me get out the chains. Let me break the mental slavery. Let me break the physical slavery. You know, I met a cat in the mall, man. He was a lawyer. He's a lawyer. And you can tell he got dough. He got lawyer money. You know, you walking around with Louis Vuitton belts, and it wasn't fake. It was real. He got money. He was a lawyer. He was an older dude, lawyer, money. So I said, man, how come you don't start your own business? Do your own practice? Because he's like, man, y'all got your own business. Y'all are so young. I'm like, hell yeah. You trying to work for nobody? That's whack. Right? We got to do our own thing. This is the time where they're giving you business licenses, and they letting the black man open his own business if you do it right. And I said, how come you don't do your own thing? You know what he told me? He straight up said it. I'm scared. First of all, this dude was like 6'5", 300 and something pounds. This dude was a big dude. He said, I'm scared. He said, I'm too used to relying on that 2-week paycheck. I know if I branch out, it's going to be some bumpiness. It's going to be rocky, and I can't do it. I was like, damn, really?
He straight up said that.
I put that on everything. He said, I'm too scared. I'm too scared. He was scared that if the money wasn't going to come in, he was going to lose his woman. He wasn't going to be able to pay that car note. He wasn't going to be able to walk around them Louis loafers, that Louis belt. He had money. He had money. But he said he was scared. He was scared to not have the white man's dollar. He was a coward, man. So that means that if it's time, if a bunch of brothers come together and say, listen, we need you as a lawyer to help with this business, he wouldn't do it. Or if he would, what would happen? As soon as it start getting hard, he's going to back out. He's going to leave brothers hanging. You see that? So that's why the Bible tells us, and we're going to go into it, the Bible tells us not to deal with cowards in the time of war, in matters of war. Why? Because they ain't going to be there. They're not going to be that brother that's born for adversity. They're not going to be there to have your back when it gets hard. Because when it gets hard, that's where everybody wants to do what? Dip off. Right?
I was in the Gospels again today.
Speak up.
And I was in the Gospels again today, during the day, and it got to the scripture where Yahushua said something, and then many of the disciples turned away and just stopped following him.
Because they weren't real disciples. They weren't real brothers.
You hear something you don't like.
But that's the thing where, let's man up, man. Let's hear. You know what we don't want to hear? We don't want to hear the things about us that we don't like. We don't want to hear that, okay, you're not as good as you think you are. You're not as on point as you think you are. Change this, fix this, add that. We don't want to hear constructive criticism. That turns us into a coward heart. It's like, man, they tell me too much things about myself. I'm out. I ain't dealing with that. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to step into my battle and fix myself.
That's why the church got so many members.
Oh yeah, because ain't nobody battling in there. They all just eating Sunday dinners and eating all the pork, smoking cigarettes. They come. It's like come as you are, stay as you are. Where we know the Bible tells you, put off the old man, put on the new. You know what the problem is with putting on the old man? What's up?
That exact same, exactly what you said.
Read.
I had that same conversation yesterday or the day before with the girl at work.
Right.
I know we talked about it, so I was telling her, she's only going to see me in skirts and dresses because, she asked me, what religion was I, because they heard I don't do any holidays, so they were talking about, who could work on Halloween and who can work on Thanksgiving. I was like, well, I don't do any holidays, so I could, I'll work whatever.
Right.
So she was like, what's up with that? So anyways, I was telling her, she's only going to see me in skirts or dresses. And she said, why? And so I told her, I was like, it's an abomination to the Most High for, women to wear pants and men to wear dresses. She was like, but the preachers at church, they tell you come as you are. And I was like, yeah. I was like, and the Bible tells you put off the old man and put on the new man. So how does that line up? And she just looked at me and she was like, oh, I need to the guy said, I love my pants too much. I'm not going to get rid of my
Right.
pants.
But that's the problem where, see, it's even like pants. It's a damn stronghold on our people. And they're too weak-minded to say, you know what, let me fight that battle real quick. It's an easy battle to win. It's easier to say, you know what, I'm just going to be a coward in the corner, keep my pants on, eat my pork, smoke my cigarettes, do my drugs, sell my crack. Instead of saying, you know what, let me fight for something that is going to make me better. And then when you do bring these people around and they're not really about that life, because they be talking about, yeah, I'm about that life. But when you ain't really about that smoke, right? When you don't want that smoke, what happens? It starts getting hard, and those people leave you. They dip out on you. Or they change the hearts of men, other weak-minded men. Right? So where are we at in the scriptures?
You said Isaiah.
Go to Isaiah 33:6 real quick. Because we got to see where does our strength lie. And I haven't even gotten to the class yet. I'm just, I'm sorry. Isaiah 33:6, read.
Book of Isaiah, chapter 33, verse 6. And wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times.
Go ahead.
And strength of salvation.
Right. That's the strength, the wisdom and knowledge. Not crack, not your car, not your bank account, not how many dollars, zero signs you got behind your bank. None of that. The real strength is being able to apply wisdom and knowledge. But what does that take? Again, if you're dealing with putting off the old man and putting on the new, you know why people run from their putting off the new, taking off the old man? Because it hurts. You got to literally rip that old man. You got to literally rip him out of you. You got to cut him away. You almost got to do like spiritual surgery and cut the old man out. Putting on the new man is easy. But you got to eradicate the space. You got to clear the space. So you got to take the old man off. That old man be clinging on, man. He be holding on, fighting tooth and nail. He be ripping into you, man. Sunk in. So you try to pull him away, and what is it doing? It's tearing at you. It's ripping at you. But once you get him off, it's easy to put on that new man.
And then part of the battle is like recognizing what spirits are put here to test that old man.
You say it again?
Part of the battle is like even being able to discern the spirits that are sent to your way to test that old man.
Oh yeah.
Like with me, like I've been noticing a lot of times, like because in the world it's like, you know, even my mom used to tell us if somebody hits you, hit them right back. You know,
right.
You go to school, or if somebody jump on your brother, y'all jump them together. She'll say that like I didn't push out 5 kids for nothing. I got 5 to jump on one dude or who. So like. Even me, like now, like at work, or even like, you know, like I was saying about the situation that happened, I called you, I got into it. Like, I'm noticing now the Most High, he'll keep sending them same spirits. And even though I know I'm right, and this person got demons on them, the old man will be like, don't take that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
punch him in the face, kick him down the steps.
You got me.
Yeah.
I slap you at what you, but then at the same time, it's so spiritual because them same cats that be doing that to vex your spirit and pull out the old man. Once them demons actually get a hold of you, like, and get the result they wanted, when you get out of character, then the demon just like hops off the people. They be looking at you like,
what's your problem?
Oh my God! Like, it is like,
like why you treat me like that?
Like, why you tripping?
Yeah, why you tripping? Well, you was tripping with me. But that's why back to that Corinthians, it says the weapons of our warfare are not carnal but spiritual. The carnal man wants to do what? Fight, cuss, scream, yell. The spiritual man is like, okay, let me see what I'm dealing with here. It's like Christ. Whenever he dealt with these demons, did he just go flip out with the demons? They start yelling and screaming, he yelled and screamed with them? Nah, he jumped, he was always in the spirit and was like, okay, who are you? Well, we're Legion. Okay, well, I know I'm dealing with demons, right? And he would deal with them accordingly.
And the Most High he been showing me, like, really the old man, it's not even just so much anger and stuff, that is the root of it is pride. Because as a man,
nobody's supposed to talk to you a certain way.
Like that, you know, and taking a lower seat, it like the old man will tell you, he think you're weak, he think you ass.
Yeah, he think he treat you like you're a punk.
Yeah, and then so you want to, and that's the old man, and it does hurt because sometimes I be like, bro, I could really slap this out of you right now, like, you know, in my mind I'm like, I could really handle you.
Right.
But then it's like, so it does hurt. It's like, ooh, you know what I'm saying, like, but at the end of the day, what I learned is, when I let the old man get the best of me, I look like a clown. Like, it mocks me.
You look weak because you resort back to the weak and beggarly way of doing things. You resort back to the violence, the yelling, the screaming that don't even fix nothing. So again, read it, Isaiah 33 and verse 6.
And wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy time.
Right. The only unstable people are the ones that deal with pride, chaos, yelling, screaming, and physical fighting. Go ahead.
And strength of salvation.
Right. And we ain't going to be saved busting guns and fighting and shooting missiles. We're going to be saved through how do we apply wisdom to our life, to our children, to our wives, to our husband. How do we apply wisdom to our families to get them saved? You can bust all the guns you want. Esau got more. That's the thing. You can fight all you want. Nigga, there's better fighters. You can yell and scream all you want. There's somebody that's louder. But wisdom upon wisdom upon wisdom and the constant application gets you to a level. Y'all get that? So going into this class that I haven't gone into yet, go to Ecclesiastes 37 and verse 11. Y'all looking at me like, what? Yeah, that was the introduction. Read Isaiah 30, Ecclesiasticus in the Apocrypha 37 and verse 11.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 37 and verse 11.
Go ahead.
Neither consult with a woman touching her of whom she is jealous.
Right. You're not going to deal with a jealous woman with another woman because she's not going to give you the right info, right? Go ahead. What's up?
It's just something in the memory, right?
Go ahead, read on.
Neither with a coward in matters of war.
Right, because how can a coward teach you anything about war? How can a person that never faced their battles or even stood up to the plate and say, you know what, I'm a battle a little bit, how can they tell you how to battle? It's like they say, how you going to tell somebody to do something you ain't never did? Because it don't work like that. You can't give me experience on something that you never experienced. First of all, I don't want that experience. I don't want the non-experience. I went through this and this is what I did. Either it worked or it didn't. But I don't want the, I'm just avoiding that. When it's time to war, guess what? I just get the bottom. When it's time to go to war, guess what I do? I just go back into the sunken place. When it's time to go to battle, guess what I do? I just hit the weed. It lets all my problems go away. Now I want to deal with the cat that's battled. Show me, how'd you get over that pride demon? How'd you get over this? How'd you deal with that? Oh, I did this. I went to this scripture. I counseled with brothers. I used this method. I used this method. I had to purge myself. I fasted. I prayed. Give me that. Don't tell me I smoked weed and drank. Or I just act like it wasn't there. That's cowardly. Go ahead, read on.
Nor with a merchant concerning exchange.
Why? Because a merchant's going to be out for his own gain. Go ahead.
Nor with a buyer of selling.
Go ahead.
Nor with a man of thankfulness.
Right, so you see the scripture showing you like you can't deal with certain people on certain topics. Why? Because there's going to be a bias there, or they're not going to give you the correct experience. Now, when it says neither with a coward in matters of war, we got to understand, this is the law. Go to Deuteronomy chapter 31 and verse 6. This is the law. This law was given by Moses for a reason. Deuteronomy 31 and verse 6. Let me make sure. Read that. Deuteronomy 31 and verse 6.
Deuteronomy chapter 31 verse 6.
Go ahead.
Be strong and of a good courage.
So the Most High commanded us all through the Old Testament. He said to do what?
Be strong and of a good courage.
Why? Because for one, I'm giving you wisdom and knowledge. I gave you that. Secondly, you got Christ rolling with you if y'all didn't see it. You got the pillar by day, right? Or the cloud by day, the fire by night, right? You got Yahweh Shai rolling. Y'all can see him. You got me with you. Y'all know that. So he said, be strong and be of a good courage. Go ahead.
Fear not.
Go ahead.
Nor be afraid of them.
And this is what we got to remember as a nation, but we got to remember this as individuals. We got to remember not to be afraid of our battles and the demons that try to attack us. Go ahead.
For the Lord thy God, he it is that doth go with thee.
The Lord thy God does what?
He it is that doth go with thee.
Yeah, the Most High goes with us. He goes with us into the war. He's there, side by side, ready. See, where we mess up at, you know why we lose? Why do we lose? Why do we lose the battles that we go through?
We don't even want to battle.
We don't want to battle. What?
No faith.
Lack of faith. We don't show up. We don't show up ready to wield that sword. We don't show up as if it's just us. See, it's you know, when you go, like I always have the mentality, no matter what zone I'm in, that, and you know, we got brothers around us, where 2 and 3 is gathered, there is Christ. You know, there's woe to him that is left alone when he fall, who is going to be there to pick him up, right? We know those scriptures. But does that mean that I go into the battle like, well, I got a brother there with me, so I'll be fine?
Blah.
I go into the battle as if it's just me and Yahweh Shai. Me and the Most High. Every battle, everything. Even though there's brothers there with me, because men fail, right? Most High and Christ ain't going to fail. They won't fail us. So I always approach everything as if it's me and the Most High, and if I was the last man on earth, I'm going to still do what I got to do. That's how we got to approach it, but some of us don't even show up. Like, well, I ain't going to deal with that. Jesus, take the wheel. Okay, first of all, he always had the wheel. You never had control. That's one. So that old stupid ass saying, Jesus, take the wheel, bruh, he is the wheel. He's the car. He's the navigation system. He's taking you to your destination. So for you to tell him to take the wheel, wrong. He already had the wheel. He's leading you. A man's goings are of the Lord. Right? So the Christians got it wrong. Yahweh Shai already got the wheel. The Most High got the car. We got to at least get in the damn car. We like Christ take the wheel, but we don't want to get in. The hell? Well, yeah, Yahweh Shai got that. Christ got that. He got the wheel, so I don't even got to get into the car. Nah, bro, you at least got to get in and show that you're ready to drive too. You got to at least show the Most High, like, listen, I'm equipped to fight. You got to show the hell up. But you can't show up in the, I don't know, man. I don't know what's going to happen. Especially when you've been through battle after battle and you ain't been killed yet. You've been through battle after battle and what? The Most High done been there for you. He's telling us right now, watch, read on.
He will not fail thee.
Go ahead.
Nor forsake thee.
All right, so he constantly reminded us of this. He had to, because as non-spiritual as we were and that we thought we was weak as hell, man. We was weak-minded. As soon as we saw some people come up against us, oh my God, they're bigger. As soon as we went through something, oh my God, I ain't gonna be able to get that. I ain't gonna be able to fight that. You know, Philippians 4:13 says what? Come on, you Christian. No, I'm just playing. What's the Christian's favorite? You know what it is.
I can do all things through Christ.
I can do all things through Christ that strengtheneth me, right? But then you got the more weak-minded Israelites talking about, I can't keep all the laws. But I thought you could do all things. The Bible says it, but then how come you coming back saying what you can't do? How about just show up and try? How about start with the first? How about grow that beard out? Oh, well, that's easy. How about putting down the pork? Oh, well, that wasn't so hard. And then you move on and keep moving on. But if you sitting there thinking like, damn, I got to do all 619 of those? It's impossible. But I ask you, how many times you been arrested trying to keep all 4,000 laws just in Houston? All their penal codes and statutes and this and their sub-laws and their this law and that law. Ain't nobody walking up like, you broke that law. They ain't doing that. Why? You ain't even thinking about it.
I have that textbook and it's lengthy. It's
oh yeah. I remember I was taking criminal justice in Colorado. That book was like,
it's bad.
It was like statute and then sub-statute. I'm like, who can keep all this? It's to the point there's so much, they don't even enforce half them damn laws. Sodomy is against the law. They call it a victimless crime. You can go bang whoever you want now, right? But there was a time when it was illegal. They arrested people for it. But then they were like, well, man, there's too many faggots out here. So guess what? We're not going to enforce that one. But my point is, we go too much against what we don't bring to the table. Where you got something to bring to the table. Start with what you have. Like it talks about in Corinthians. It's not what a man have. What a man don't have is about what he has. Right? Go to Deuteronomy 20 and verse 1. So y'all with me so far, right? I know I talk fast.
Deuteronomy chapter 20 and verse 1.
Uh-huh.
When thou goest out to battle against thine enemies.
So here's the law. Here's the law. We haven't got there yet. Now we're there. 37:11.
Who's asking for Ecclesiasticus?
Oh, okay.
Before you had went there.
Before I went there, kind. So here's the law on war, because there is laws for war, man. Read it. Deuteronomy 20 and verse 1.
Deuteronomy chapter 20 and verse 1.
Uh-huh.
When thou goest out to battle
Read.
against thine enemies,
Read.
and seest horses and chariots,
Uh-huh.
and a people more than thou, be not afraid of them.
Uh-huh.
For the Lord thy power is with thee,
Read.
which brought thee out of the land of Egypt.
Right. So now, I mean, when we step out of our houses, there are horses and chariots and great people ready to slaughter us with shield and buckler. Nah. Because the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but spiritual. Right? So we got to transition this from, in this day, yeah, we actually fighting against nations physically. And it's like, damn, they're big. They're strong. They're strong, right? They got bigger weapons. They got bigger shields. They got better chariots. They got chariots. We on foot. Right? They ready, but the Most High still said it don't matter. I got you. Now think about when you go through your spiritual battle. And instead of implementing the things to help you fight, you don't even fight. You implement the wrong thing. What do? Instead of saying, you know what, let me put on the spirit of the Most High, you put on the spirit of grandma. Or you go to the auntie that been married 30 times, and she's like the XXX, but you ask her for relationship advice. And what she tell you? Oh, just get rid of him, girl. She's the auntie that been married 3 times, the 3 different men. Now she's the lesbian. You go ask her for relationship advice. What's she gonna tell you? Go get with a dyke, right?
I was meditating on that very same thought this past week.
Uh-huh.
Off of Proverbs, I think it's 1 and 1. Psalm 1 and 1.
Yeah.
Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of
the ungodly.
Because even like with your friends in the world, it goes for guys too. They'll give you some of the dumbest, stupidest advice on how to deal with your woman.
Listen, I was talking to a dude in the mall, and he was, I was selling him some oils, getting them right, and he was talking about this girl that he was trying to holler at, and I was like, he was like, I would hit her up, and she wouldn't hit me back, and then she would hit me back, and she would say, yeah, we go get coffee, and then she would cancel on me, and I knew she was still talking to her ex. I'm like, how do you know that? He's like, well, I just kind of figured. I was like, have you asked her? He's like, no, I just stopped talking to her. When I see her in the hallway and she stares at me, I'm like, do you like her? He said, yeah. And you can tell that he was like, man, I like that shit. Right? She's beautiful. She's smart. All that little gushy stuff. And I was like, okay, so, bro, just swallow your pride because you don't need it. Crush your ego. Kill the ego. And go talk to her. And don't hold it against her that, yeah, she might have just didn't communicate with you the way you wanted to. But go find out what's up. Go ask her, hey, I've been hitting you up and you ain't hitting me back. What's up? What's wrong? You back with the ex? What's going on? And he looked at me, he was like, damn, really? He said, it's that easy?
So simple.
It's so simple. Because everybody else is telling him, like, yeah, man, you don't need her. Don't talk to her. She's whack. I'm like, bro, did you even find out what was wrong? Why she stopped hitting you up? He was like, you know what? No. I was like, yeah. In my mind, what I'm thinking, Matthew 18. I'm offended. I'm going to figure out what's up. Simple as that. And he was like, you know what, Q? You're right. These young kids, man. This dude was 19. I'm like, I know I'm right. It's easy.
Let his friends like, I got counsel like that from the friends in the world. Man, go start talking to her friend, man.
Go talk to her friend. Make her jealous. Just, just go do some vindictive acts. It's like, I was like, bro, just go talk to her. Go find out what happened. He's like, man, she just keeps staring at me. I'm like, she probably feels bad for not hitting you up and doesn't know how to approach you. So go be the man. Go be a man. Go be a man. He was like, go be a man. I am a man. I was like, no, go be a man that uses wisdom and go talk. Get off the phone, stop texting, and go talk to her. He was like, damn. He put his head down, he shook his head, he was like, what the? I ain't never heard this before. Because everybody else is telling him, like, yeah, move on, go bang some other chick, this, that. Everybody else is giving him the wrong advice. But that's the problem where that's what we put on. We put on the wrong advice. Instead of just going to battle, Most High with us. It's something as simple as that. But it's bigger things where we face bigger issues. You got home problems, right? You got husband and wife issues. The demons is like, yeah, just be silent for the whole week. That the way to fix it? I just ain't gonna talk to her. I ain't talked to her in 3 days. Man, I ain't got nothing to say to you. You pissed me off, you made me mad, right? But the wisdom is there for us to conquer that battle, conquer that spirit, right? Condescend to low estate, communicate, do good and communicate for such sacrifices, endeavoring to keep the bond of the spirit of unity and peace. All these different things that we can say, you know what? I'm not doing enough of that. Let me do that. Soft answer, turn away much wrath. It's all these things that the wisdom gives us, but if we don't show up and use it, you automatically lose. Go ahead, read on.
Deuteronomy chapter 20 and verse 1.
Read verse 2.
Verse 2. And it shall be when ye are come nigh unto the battle,
right,
that the priest shall approach and speak unto the people.
And it's just like how we do it. It's just like how we do it in here, man. We're going to undertake a new venture. Like if we come to brothers and say, you know what, we're going to open up a new mall. We come brothers together and this is what we're going to do. Why? Because we say if you faint-hearted and you don't believe, you might as well back out now. Don't get in the midst of the battle and then get faint-hearted and then pull the whole zone down. You get weak in the middle of the battle, man. Everybody else sees you get weak, and then what happens? Trickle effect, domino effect. So the priest comes out, and what does he do? Read on.
Verse 3. And shall say unto them, Hear, O Israel,
read.
You approach this day unto battle against your enemies.
Let
not your hearts faint.
Let not what?
Your hearts faint.
Right, he tells them to be strong. Go ahead.
Fear not.
Read.
And do not tremble.
Read.
Neither be ye terrified because of them.
Why? Read on.
For the Lord your power is he that goeth with you.
He does what?
Is he that goeth with you.
Come on.
To fight for you.
Wait. Jesus, take the wheel.
To fight for you.
Wait, he already has the wheel.
To fight for you.
Yeah. The Most High is fighting for you. That's what we forget. We forget that the Most High is already, first of all, he set the battle up. But then he going to fight for you. It didn't say fight with you. So the Most High fights for you. We have the greatest power on the earth. And we neglect it. And we forget. And it's like, why do we let ourselves get weak? Why do we let ourselves fall into the doubt? Like, I don't know, I can't do it. Why? Because we forget. We forget to study. We forget to constantly be applying. We forget that we're in the battle. We forget that the battle is not meant to destroy, but to what?
Build up.
To build us. The trying of your faith that is much more precious than gold. That's what it's meant to do, is purge you. Read on.
To fight for you against your enemies. To save you.
To do what?
To save you.
To destroy us.
To save you.
Yeah, the Most High fights for us against our enemies to save us. Go to 1 Maccabees 3:56. So this is the law, right? 1 Maccabees 3:56. And we didn't finish in that Deuteronomy. Jump in here real quick. Go to 1 Maccabees 3:56.
Done. 1 Maccabees chapter 3, verse 56.
And we're going to pick back up in Deuteronomy chapter 20 and verse 5. Go ahead. Bless.
Excuse me. But as for such as were building houses.
Right, because even in the time of Maccabees, they were going to war. Right? So the same process. He came out. Go ahead.
Or had betrothed wives.
Go ahead.
Or were planting vineyards. Or were fearful.
Or were what?
Fearful.
Read.
Those he commanded that they should return.
Right, because this was the time of war. So he said, okay, you just built a house. Go back and deal with your house. You just betrothed the wife. Go ahead and deal with your wife. Oh, you just planted a new vineyard? Go ahead. You know why? Why?
Because your mind ain't going to be there.
Your mind ain't going to be there.
It's 2 Timothy's, where it says, no man that warreth entangleth himself.
In the 2 Timothy 2 and verse 5, right? No man that warreth entangleth himself in the affairs of this life. Why? Because in the middle of the war, I can't be thinking about,
yeah, I'm going to lose this house.
I'm about to die and lose my house. I'm about to die and I sleep and not deal with my woman. I got the vineyard. Yeah. Nobody ain't watering if I die. You can't think about that in war. You can't be in war scary. Oh, I'm going to lose. I'm not going to win this battle. How am I going to get through it? Oh, woe is me. You got to approach that battle and be ready. Put on the armor of the Most High. These are the way, there's a way that we got to approach our battles. I talked about it Monday where I try to be proactive in my battle. I don't try to be reactive. I know me. The Bible says examine yourself whether you be in the faith. It says the spiritual judgeth all things. I know myself. I know where I get weak to. I know my demons. So I try to head that off before the demon pops up. And I just keep moving, keep working, keep fighting, keep striving, keep going forward. So that way, if I'm slothful, the slothful demon can't take me. It tried to get me during this little feast. We had 7 days off. I was like, damn, it's too much time. I know me, I gotta be working. I gotta be moving. I gotta be waking up early and going to bed late. That's how I function. I can't do the sleep in till 12. I can't do that. I'm not efficient like that. So what do I gotta do? I wake up early, go to bed late. And I keep my mind doing things because I know me. I'll get slothful, I get relaxed, I get lazy. And then I start condemning myself and looking like, wait a minute, I'm wicked. I ain't doing nothing. It gets like that. You're like, damn, I ain't studied in 2 days, man. I'm off. But because I'm used to studying every single day, you go 2 days, you're like, wait a minute, something ain't right here. So I know me. You had your hand up.
When you brought up a scripture about basically when you go out to war, you can't no soldier basically entangle himself with the worldly stuff. Like if you read in history, towards the end of Napoleon's reign, the reason why he fell weak was behind a woman. Like they encountered this in history because his soldiers were noticing that like when they were starting to fall, he had his wife called
calling the shots.
No, her name was it Nadine Bonaparte or it was Josephine Bonaparte. And what he was doing is she was off like back in France, and he would be like pausing the battle, like literally instead of planning with the soldiers,
he'd be writing
love letters to her, making them like his best men go and run the horses down. And then it tells you also in history that Cleopatra did the same thing to Mark Antony. That was the fall of his reign. So it's so spiritual. The scriptures say like basically like if you betroth the wife, like you can't even go out to battle, or so you can't really carry all these thoughts or these vain thoughts in your head when you want to go out to battle because you're not going to be focused on the task at hand.
And that's why we don't defeat our battles, because we're like I don't want to battle right now. I want to bake cakes with my wife and be hugged up and be in my feelings. We don't fight the battle. We don't approach the battle. That's why he said when you approach the battle, some of us don't even step up to the plate and say, you know what, I'm ready to fight. We act like we're about to fight. Well, some of us throw on the armor. Throw on the headpiece, throw on the helmet, throw on everything. But your whole heart is trembling. You're like, man, I don't know how I'm going to do this. I'm going to show up, though. And you sitting there scary. Everybody else around you is looking like, wait a minute, why he shook? Maybe I should be scared, too. If he's scared, and he got all the Bible verses in the world and all the scriptures and breakdowns, then maybe I should be scared, too. Yeah. But that's why a coward can't be in war. Finish that Maccabees, and then go back to Deuteronomy.
Verse 56. Or we're fearful. You want me to start from the top?
No, read from where you at.
Or we're fearful those he commanded that they should return.
Go ahead.
Every man to his own house. According to the law.
According to what?
To the law.
According to the law. Jump back to Deuteronomy. See, this is the law, man. The Most High knew what he was doing when he gave these laws. Go back to Deuteronomy chapter 20 and start at verse 5.
God, verse 5. And the officers shall speak unto the people.
Go ahead.
Saying, what man is there that hath built a new house, and hath not dedicated it?
Read.
Let him go and return to his house.
Why? Because that's going to be on your mind. I didn't dedicate my house, man. Damn. If I die in this battle, somebody else is going to dedicate my house for me. So instead of having that on your mind, go dedicate your house. Read.
Lest he die in the battle, and another man dedicate it.
Go ahead.
Verse 6. And what man is he that hath planted a vineyard and hath not yet eaten of it?
Right, man. I planted this grape vineyard, man. I got these ripe plump grapes. I gotta go to war. I ain't gonna see these grapes grow. You thinking about that instead of fighting your battle. Go ahead.
Let him also go and return unto his house.
Now I see why they recruit soldiers so young out of high school. Because you got no kids and attachments, no woman, you ain't got no house, you ain't got none of that. They're like, man, listen, out of high school, you about to go to war.
Yeah,
they do it in,
huh?
I
said they gung ho.
Yeah, because why though? They make them attached to the military. They make them attached to that life. But if you got your woman at home, like the big, you got a lot of cats in the military coming back, they would get paid. The wife got the bank account, spent up all the money, cheat on him, get with a whole other man, and what would happen? That story would get back to another guy that's out in Iraq somewhere, and he's sitting there thinking like, damn, wonder if she's cheating on me, wonder if she's cheating on me. And that would just trickle through the whole brigade. Now, instead of fighting your war, you getting your head blown off because you worried about your wife banging some other guy back in the States and spending all your military money. That's why they don't want these guys with no attachments. But this is the thing. The difference between us is we got to fight our battles and fight our wars with all the attachments. We got to go through, like the scriptures. It's in Corinthians. It says, "Approving ourselves as ministers of the Most High, through much affliction, through fasting, through looking, through work." We got to be doing the work while we approve ourselves and go through these battles. We all got attachments here. We all got something that can pull us, right? Else Ecclesiastes chapter 2 wouldn't be in effect. What's your temptation? What's your poison? We all got a poison that it's easy for me to say, you know what? Well, my kids can't do the truth. Well, my woman, I can't do the truth. Well, there's a car, my house, my money can't be in the truth. There's always something that we can use. So that's part of the battle. Why do you think a lot of people aren't in the truth? They don't want to step up to that battle. They don't want to step up and say, you know what, let me face the first battle in my walk to even get in. They avoid it. They know. Or they start getting hit a little bit, they disappear. They know what's up. But read on.
Lest he die in the battle and another man, lest he die in the battle and another man eat of it.
Go ahead.
And what man is there that hath betrothed a wife?
Read.
And hath not taken her? Let him go and return unto him, lest he die in the battle and another man take her.
Read on.
And the officers shall speak further unto the people.
What verse you at?
Verse 8.
Go ahead.
And they shall say, what man is there that is fearful?
What man is there that is what?
Fearful.
Read.
And faint-hearted.
Right. Who's scared, man? Who's scared? Say it now. Go ahead.
And let him go and return unto his house.
Go ahead.
Lest his brethren's heart faint as well as his heart.
You see that? Because your scary self is going to make your brother get weak. Because strength promotes strength. Weakness promotes weakness. What you going to cling to? Unfortunately, again, we're so conditioned to cling to weakness, thinking that it's strength. We cling to the weak things disguised as strength. But then when we come into the wisdom, it's like, damn, I don't want to deal with that. Y'all too hard. Y'all too harsh with that word. Y'all work too hard. Y'all do too much. I don't want to do that. But the strength is in pushing yourself. We got to get better at clinging to strength and not bleeding our weakness over to our brother. If you faint-hearted, say so. Let's get you strong. We all been there, right? We all been weak and weary, and it's like, damn, I'm going to make it, head down, wanting to die. Some have, some haven't. But where does the strength come? From the brother next to you. Y'all get that?
Go ahead.
Where we at? Go to Joshua. You finished that?
Well, I think so.
Yeah, you did. Go to Joshua. Go to Joshua 23 and verse 6. Again, just a quick little reminder, man. It ain't got to go all super deep. It ain't got to be all blaze of glory. But just a reminder that, listen, the Most High, he set this up so that we could use him to fight for us. He automatically gonna do it. You just gotta show up. You gotta build yourself as if you about to fight war. Go ahead, read.
Joshua chapter 23, verse 6. Be ye therefore very courageous.
Go ahead.
To keep and to do all that is written in the book of the law of Moses.
Wait. Why do I gotta be courageous to keep the Bible? Think about it. He said, be courageous to keep and do all that's written in the book of Moses. So I gotta have courage to keep these laws, statutes, and commandments? Yes. You know why? Because some people died trying to keep them. Men and women have died trying to keep this law. You know where where our courage comes in, where you wear your dress, and they're like, why are you wearing a dress all the time? And you get faint-hearted and weak and say, you know what? Damn, why am I wearing a dress all the time? I don't want to look a certain way, so I'm going to not wear my dress. Or I'm not going to wear my fringes. Or I'm not going to rely on the wisdom of the Bible. I'm going to rely on my own wisdom. Because I don't want to look a certain way. We don't want to be cowards. We want to be very courageous. Go ahead.
That ye turn not aside therefrom to the right hand or to the left.
Because it takes courage to not straight to the left, or to the right, excuse me. It takes courage, man, to walk that straight and narrow path. It takes a lot of courage, but it don't mean it can't be done because you got to use courage. It can be done. You got to just set your mind right and understand, what battle am I trying to, what battle am I dealing with? What am I dealing with? Oh, but the Most High is there with me. I think that's where we get weak and faint-hearted, and we forget that the Most High is there. It ain't just you walking. Sometimes he's carrying you. Go ahead.
Verse 7?
Yeah, you're going to read down to verse 10.
Okay. Verse 7. That ye come not among these nations, these that remain among you.
Go ahead.
Neither make mention of the name of their gods.
Go ahead.
Nor cause to swear by them.
Read.
Neither serve them.
Right, because what does the world tell you to do? Be a Christian, be a Muslim, right? To be in the popular, be in the winner's circle, right? The only way to do that is to bow down to somebody else's gods. Oh, you're an Israelite, they're a cult, but everybody else isn't. The world is a cult. Going to work every day from 9 to 5 is a cult. If y'all didn't know that. Look up the definition of cult. Everything's a cult. As soon as you do something that somebody else is doing, that's a damn cult. If you want to do it by definition. So they'll try to tell, oh, you're in a cult. Okay, but so are you. If you want to look at it like that, so are you. But am I going to get weak and follow your cult into wickedness, or am I going to stay in my cult of strength? Yeah. You know, I was telling my rib the other day, and we were driving. This was a while back. And I'm like, you know, I look at the scriptures and I look at the world, and I'm like, even if the Bible was fake, I'd rather follow it than the world. Okay, at least I'm not getting butt raped. I'm not getting, bro, I mean, you got to look at the world. I'm not getting high. I'm not out my mind. Things are in order. The Bible puts things in order. It puts things in perspective. At least I know why things are happening, right? But the world, they just leave you guessing. Here, bend over. Bend over, and then we'll pay you minimum wage, right? We'll pay you minimum wage, but you gotta give something up. You gotta give up a piece of your soul. At least with the scriptures, things are being set right in order. So I'd rather put my strength in the Bible than put my strength and my courage in the world, because again, none of that stuff ever helped. Getting high never helped. Getting super drunk every ladies' night never helped. Every Saturday, you know, $5 happy hour, that never helped. How many happy hours I've been to in my damn life? That never helped anything. You know how many ladies' nights I've been to? Free before 10s? Come on. They never helped nothing. But the wisdom, applying it, that's what helps. Go ahead.
Nor bow yourselves unto them.
Right.
Verse 8. But cleave unto the Lord your God.
But do what?
But cleave unto the Lord your God.
Because it takes strength and courage to do so. Because again, the world is trying to tell you cleave to it. The world is trying to wear us down. Cleave to this God. Cleave to, go be a Muslim. Go be a Buddha. Go be this. Go be that. Deal with your chakras. The world is telling you to cleave to everything else but the Most High. And it's trying to entice you in many different ways. Many, many different ways, man. They're paying you to be a faggot these days. Because they're trying to entice you to go serve that God. Go be a Christian, because the Christians get more prosperity and they drive around in nice cars and whatever. See, but it takes a special courage to say, you know what? Just like Moses, I'm going to suffer with my people than to live in the Pharaoh's house and riches. And I'm going to build and I'm going to grow the right way rather than live rich for a season. It takes a special type of courage and a special type of man to say, you know what? I ain't going to fall to that weakness. I ain't going to be a coward. I ain't going to be there for brothers and then I'm just, you know what? It gets a little hard. I'm going to go back to Pharaoh's house. It takes a special type of man to say, you know what? I'm going to stick in there and bear the infirmities of the weak. Present myself as a living sacrifice. Bear ye each other's burden. It takes a special man, a special woman. What's that?
I was meditating too on it. Like, it's crazy. This class is going to just about what I was thinking about. Like, I was telling y'all about like my friends from the world, how they was talking all that madness and nonsense about money this, money that, and what's that Bible gonna do with the money, all this other stuff. It took a special man or courage for Noah to sit here and say for 90 years it ain't raining.
110.
I'm sorry, 110. I'm getting the stories mixed up. 110. It's not raining, and most of the time build this ark, and I'm pretty sure people like they doing right now is laughing like,
oh yeah,
this nigga's crazy, like, you know, these.
Yeah, but it's like I always say, we're all building an ark. We're all building this spiritual ark that they laughing at, that they're like, you know what, nigga, I'm about to go party. You can build that whack ass ark. You can build that little old boat. Cause that's all they see. That's just a boat. It's not an ark. It's not a yacht. You building your spiritual yacht. You know it's a yacht because you know it's gonna save you. You know it, and they're like, I don't see it. I'm gonna go ride in my Porsche. I'm gonna go ride in my 2018, right? And they laughing, they partying, they drinking, they marrying, they getting all the amenities, and you just sitting back, nailing in your boards, making sure your ship don't sink.
I just want to say one thing.
Like
some people, they just take this as a joke.
Yeah.
It's because like somebody may offer me some pork or something.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, no, thank you.
Yeah.
Be like, why you don't eat that? I'll be like, the scriptures tell us not to eat that. And they'll be like, oh, well, I'll have something for you then.
Yeah, or you follow that book. Yeah.
It's like they just this don't mean anything.
Allison.
On the point that you were saying earlier, like it takes like a special type of courage.
Yeah.
It reminds me of like John 20 and 29. And it said, thou hast believed, blessed are they that have not seen.
Right.
Like you have to have like that faith in order to understand like what you're getting into.
And you got to have that faith and that courage to keep going and not seeing results right away. That's the thing. But we see results every day. We're just looking for the wrong result. You're looking for the vehicle to just pop out of nowhere in the house and this because I serve the Lord. But he's building you a spiritual vehicle. He's building you a spiritual covering. We're looking for the wrong reward, man. Where our rewards are spiritual. If the battle ain't carnal but spiritual, what the hell are the rewards going to be? We looking for the spiritual gifts. we should be, but some of us don't. That's why we get caught up like, I don't know about this truth thing because it's taking too long for me to get blessed. You getting blessed, but what blessing you want? You want the spiritual blessings or you want a damn car that you could have got without the Bible? Niggas getting cars every day, B. Come on. They hard. It's real. You getting cars and houses and women and drugs and they getting all that stuff without having the Bible. And you don't need the Bible to get drugs. Far beyond that. But my point is, if it's about getting something, you don't need the Bible to do that. So for you to sit back and say, well, I'm here serving the one true God, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, my beard is big, my fringes is long, where's my car? Nope, it's wrong. Because you're going to have to deal and keep pushing through things that you can't see. You might not see your spiritual growth right away. Somebody else will. You see that? Go ahead, read on.
Verse 8 one more time. But cleave unto the Lord your God as ye have done unto this day.
Read.
Verse 9.
And that's what we forget to do. We forget to cleave unto the Most High. It's like the Lord got to come cleave unto me. Like, nah, bro, you need to go cleave to the Most High and follow these laws. Go ahead.
For the Lord hath driven out from before you great nations and strong. But as for you, no man hath been able to stand before you unto this day.
Why? See, all through our lives, you don't won every battle. You just don't realize it. Can't no man come up against you. Why? Because for one, the Most High said he chose you from the foundation. So he wasn't going to let you get destroyed. Now you got the wisdom to actually say, you know what? This is how I'm going to win my battles. Before you were just like, damn, how did I get through that? Thank you, Jesus. Right? You went through something, you prayed a little bit, you got through it, you was like, damn, God is good. I'm blessed. Right? Yo, Christian talk, I'm blessed. I'm highly favored, right? You do the hand thing. How they do it? Yeah, I'm blessed. God is good, right? You talking like a damn Southern Baptist preacher, right? But you didn't know how you got through it. You just had some faith. You actually had faith in the battle. But now when it's like, okay, just have some faith. Well, here's all the artillery to go with the faith. You're like, I don't want to use that. It's too hard. The sword is too heavy. The shield is too heavy for me to carry. It's like, no, it's not. It's not too heavy. You just don't. You looked at it and thought it was too heavy. Go pick it up. Go grab that sword. Go put on the helmet. You got it. We got to stop being scary, man. We got to stop being cowards before the war starts. Because the Most High is already setting it up for us to win. He said, but as for you, no man hath been able to stand before you unto this day. Can't nobody come up against this wisdom if we apply it. Can't nobody come up against the strength that we have. Read verse 10.
One man of you shall chase 1,000.
Go ahead.
For the Lord your God, he it is that fighteth for you.
Read.
As he hath promised you.
As he promised it. The Most High is not a man that he shall lie. He ain't going to lie and be like, yeah, you're going to put one man is going to put 10,000 to flight. You know, all of a sudden you try to do it and it don't happen. Well, it ain't happening now because why? We ain't following the Most High. We ain't following the law. But when we were in that power, come on. And they knew the Most High was with us. These other nations. When you read about, I didn't put it in here, but when you read about Jonah, and Jonah was trying to run away from what the Most High was trying to get him to do, right? And he gets on the boat with the men of the other nation. They were like, bro, why are you doing this to us? Why do you got, because the ship start going crazy and the sea start going crazy and all the bad weather. They were like, okay, why do you have your God doing this to us? Get up out the boat. So even the nations believed that the Most High was that ultimate power. How come we don't? How come we forget that the Most High will move mountains for us? He'll damn drain a whole sea for you to walk through it. He'll kill a whole nation just for you to survive. Okay, let's make it carnal. He'll get you that position at your job that you want. He'll get you the vehicle that you want. He'll get you the bank account. He'll get you all that, but you gotta cleave unto him. Cleave to him first. Do for him. Go to Ecclesiastes 4:28. Again, just a little reminder, man. We need reminders from time to time. We need reminders. We need reminders daily. You know, because again, these battles that we go through, a lot of them are heavy battles, man. You know, I clown and I talk like, yeah, our light burden, because the Bible says it, your light affliction. Some of our afflictions ain't that light. And everybody takes things differently. And some men just don't know how to deal with their affliction, but the method is here. We have the method. We have the way to get through our afflictions to make them light. You have the ultimate spotter. Okay? Read that, Ecclesiastes 4:28.
Ecclesiastes chapter 4 and verse 28. Strive for the truth unto death.
Right, and this is what it's about. When it says cling to the Most High, cleave to him. Strive for the truth until death. We're supposed to be striving and making the leaps and bounds towards the Most High. Hold where you at. Jump to Ecclesiasticus 2 and verse 3 real quick. Just hold where you at and jump over.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 2 and verse 3.
Go ahead.
Cleave unto him.
Do what?
Cleave unto him.
Go ahead.
And depart not away.
Read.
That thou mayest be increased at thy last end.
Because that's the problem, where we're going through our battle, we're going through our trial, we're going through our war, and right when we're supposed to come over that hill and see the light, you climb up the hill a little bit, you're like, oh, I'm tired, and you go right back down. If you would have took 2 more steps over the hill, it would have been a downhill. It would have just been a downhill. You know when you're riding your bike, you got the pedal bike, and you on your, remember the bikes without the speeds? You just have the bike, and you pedal up the hill, you're like, damn, I'm tired. And then you're like, okay, there's a downhill coming. So you will pedal up and make sure you get all the way up. And you get to breathe easy, floating down. But some of us, man, we going up the hill, we're like, man, screw this. And you just turn around and go back down the hill, where you could have just kept going. That's the same thing, where you cleave to the Most High. He'll increase you in that latter end, but a lot of us don't want to even get to the beginning. We don't want to get to the beginning of the fight because we get scary, we get faint-hearted, we get nervous. A little bit of a affliction touches you and you like, you make the roadrunner sound, meet me. You gone. You run from your, this is the thing, this is what we got to realize. You run from your battle. It ain't nobody else's battle. So guess what? You can run all you want, but that battle is going to be there until you say, you know what, I'm ready to face it. That battle will always be there. You climb up that ladder, you hop off. When you get back on the ladder, you're going to hit that same ceiling that you jumped off at. You got to crash through that. You got to conquer that demon. So you're running from your own battle, but you're forsaking the one thing that's going to help you fight the battle. Go back to Ecclesiastes 4:28. Finish that up.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 4 verse 28. Strive for the truth unto death, and the Lord shall fight for thee.
Right, and that's the whole point, where if you're fighting for the right cause, the Most High will fight for you. If you're fighting for the truth, if you're fighting to stay in the wisdom and apply, if you're fighting against wickedness, the Most High will make it easy for you. If you do what's pleasing in the sight of God, He will make even your enemies at peace with you. So guess what? What does that mean right there? That you never really had to fight. All you had to do was just please the Most High. Y'all get that? That's your fight. Your fight is pleasing the Most High. He'll make your enemies be at peace. I don't got to go out and fight my enemies. Think about Solomon. Solomon was at peace. He had 40 years of peace. Why? Because he pleased the Most High. He was doing what was pleasing in the sight of the Most High, so there was nobody to fight. Because the Most High was like, nope, you're going to battle wisdom, you're going to battle wisdom, you're going to battle wisdom, and all the wisdom is going to come from one man. And he's going to control the world. Think about controlling a world. Think about it. Solomon controlled the world, not just Israel. He controlled Israel and every nation around it. One man. Why? Because he applied wisdom. Now think about it. Some of us can't even control our house. Some of us can't control ourselves. Why? Because the wisdom is there, but the application and the seeking of wisdom is not there. The wisdom is always there. It's right here in the book. We got to go get it. And then we got to use it. It's not just having it now like, oh, I got all the wisdom. Let's use it. Let's be able to control the things around us and make our enemies be at peace. Make our wife be at peace. The kids, another brother. Let's make peace. Y'all understand that, right? Go to 2 Chronicles 20 and 15. Now this scripture is real cold. I did say something. I said that when you fight your battle, that's your battle, right? But you know what's cold about this scripture? It's going to show us that it's not even your battle. This is the Most High's fight. It was never your battle to begin with. Why? It's showing that you don't control anything. So if you try to use the wrong method to get through this war, this is why we always fail. If you get scared before the war starts, this is why you always fail. Because you're not even understanding that, wow, the Most High is bringing me here. It's like a no-brainer. Like, he's bringing me here just to deliver me, man. Just to show me that he's about to do it. Again, all you have to do is get in the car. Somebody's already driving. Watch, read. 2 Chronicles 20, verse 15.
2 Chronicles chapter 20, verse 15. And he said, hearken ye, all Judah,
read,
and ye inhabitants of Jerusalem,
read,
and thou King Jehoshaphat, thus saith the Lord unto you, be not afraid nor dismayed.
Be not what?
Afraid nor dismayed.
Go ahead.
By reason of this great multitude.
Go ahead.
For the battle is not yours.
Wait. The battle is what?
For the battle is not yours.
But I'm standing here catching bullets.
For the battle is not yours.
They swinging swords and the demons is hitting me.
For the battle is not yours.
But whose is it?
But God's.
You see that? The battle is the Most High's. He's the man of war. You just got to prepare yourself for the war. You just got to go do the exercise and do the workout and do the rehearsing. But at the end of the day, when you look at and you go through history, and you go through all the battles that we fought, you know, we was fighting the Edomites and we was in this land over here and we wanted it. And we was taking kingdoms. Think about it. We was knocking down walls with what? What was knocking down the walls?
It was all the Most High.
Well, what was it though? Remember the Ark of the Covenant? And we would circle it, and then we would yell, and then what would happen? Damn walls would come crashing down, right? Think about that. We walked the Ark of the Covenant around 7 days, and then we screamed, and walls came crashing down? I mean, what weapon did you have to use? All you had to do was just show up and walk the Ark of the Covenant around 7 times. When we were, man, I forget what land it was, but we ran up on, I forget the nation, but we had, what was it? We made a bunch of noise with the,
trumpets.
It was trumpets and something else, the pots or something.
Yeah.
And we like basically scared them to death and they start killing each other.
God.
What weapons did we have? We didn't have no weapons but trumpets and pots. And all we did was make a bunch of noise. They popped up and just started stabbing each other. But imagine if we was like, you know what? We don't want to go down there with the trumpets because we ain't got no weapons. That wouldn't have happened. That was already preordained to be like that. Yeah. See, we got to understand that, yes, it is a battle, but it ain't got to be the battle that you think it is. We look at things like, man, I don't know, I'm going to get through that because I just don't know. When the Most High just wants us to show up in what? A joyful mind, in a proud mind, in a mind of, you know what? I'm going to conquer this. We quoted Philippians 4:13, right? That's the church of Scripture. That's everybody getting that tattooed down their thigh, right? You got Philippians 4:13 tattooed down your thigh, but you don't even believe it. But it's there. I can do all things through Christ that strengtheneth me. How come we don't believe it? How come we don't believe that Yahushua is there, that he'll send the fiery serpents and burn a nigga up and bite them, right? How come we don't believe that he'll work those miracles for us, if you want to call them miracles? How come we don't believe it when he's been doing it? He's been doing it in your life. You just ain't looking. You just ain't realizing it, that he's been fighting your battles. Because when you didn't have no wisdom, how did you make it to this point? Now you just have the wisdom to say, wow, okay, Christ is doing that. The Most High is doing that. Let me do me the right way. Not let me do me like be wicked, but let me do me the right way. Go to Proverbs 21 and verse 8. We got to understand, man, that having that fearful, coward spirit, this is what leads us into our death. Proverbs 21 and verse 8.
Proverbs chapter 21 and verse 8.
Come on.
The way of man is forward.
Proverbs 21 and 8. That's it. The wicked flee.
Oh, you talking about the wicked flee and no man pursue it?
That's not Proverbs 21 and 8.
Nah.
I'm whack. I wrote that wrong.
It's
in Proverbs. Or is it Psalms?
Nah, it's Proverbs. 28. It's Proverbs. Yeah, it's
Proverbs, what did I say?
21 and 8.
Oh, yeah, I have it written down here. Proverbs 28 and 1.
Got it.
I'm sorry. A little slight dyslexia. I do that, man. I'm sorry. I mix my numbers up. Proverbs 28 and verse 1. Go ahead.
Proverbs chapter 28 and verse 1.
Uh-huh.
The wicked flee when no man pursueth.
Wait. What man flees from a war?
The wicked flee.
What man don't show up for his battle?
The wicked flee.
See, the wicked are the cowards. The wicked, listen, I remember I was in the car with some brothers. We was driving. It was 4 of us in the car. We was headed to New Mexico. I'm not going to say names. And I'm in the back. Got a right here in the back, Zion. Got Kazak in the front. Got another brother driving, right? So the brother that's driving, first of all, he's speeding. We like, slow down. But I'm in the back halfway passing out. So it's late at night. It's like 2 in the morning. And it's like, slow down. You're moving kind of fast. Slow down. Short story, we get pulled over. So he in the seat, like moving around and getting antsy. Cause I was like, you do something wicked? Why you acting like, why you being so scared? Like, did you do something wicked? My brother was like, no. It's like, what the hell you acting like you did something for? Like, why you acting like when this cop rolls up to the window, they gonna arrest you off the top? But see, and I'm not saying the brother did anything wicked, but the faint-hearted, a wicked man, a man that knows that he's doing some off things, you know what he's thinking? When I get into this battle, I'm gonna die. Or when this cop rolls up to the window, the Most High is gonna judge me right here. The Most High is gonna use this to whoop me. The wicked flee when no man pursue it. Because why? It's time for them to show up. And they like, nah, I was doing this. I was doing this. I was doing this. I don't want to show up for that war. I'm not gonna fight. Why? 2 things. Or there's a few things, but one is they start to condemn themselves for all the things that they do. I'm not good enough to fight. I'm not worthy to fight. See, you get into that condemnation spirit. Because that's a wicked spirit to have on you. Or it's just, well, shit, I'm wicked as hell, so I know my day is going to come. You got the more prideful, wicked Negroes. I know my day is going to come, and then when it comes, it's like, I got to run from this. But the wicked flee when no man pursueth. Go ahead.
But the righteous are bold as a lion.
Yeah, because a righteous man ain't got nothing to fear. What does a righteous man believe? What did David believe? What did Joshua? Was it Joshua? Not Joshua. It was Joseph. And Moses and all the great men of the Bible. What did they believe? That the Most High is standing right here next to me. They always believed that. They always knew that the Most High, he's here. The Most High set it up. David. When you read about David and when he was talking about going and slaying Goliath, and you read it in the Josephus, and you know Saul is having this conversation with him, like, why do you believe that you're gonna go slay him? He's like, because when I slayed the lion, when I slayed the bear, the only thing that was the same was that the Most High was with me. So when I go slay this dude, the spirit of the Most High is with me. Saul was like, go ahead and do your thing.
And I've been going through like the Kings and the Chronicles. And the common denominator is like with the wicked kings of Israel, even like of the Judah. If they weren't doing the prerequisite, like they weren't following the commandments of the Lord, they were going off, then they would lose every single time.
Yeah.
Every single time.
Yeah, every time.
Or you had like Saul, like you just brought up a point, like he was so condemned, he knew the spirit of the Lord left him, so he went to go consult with with basically a witch.
Yeah.
So if you're not doing right, like, cause I've been there too, like I feel like condemned, like, so I don't want to be around. I feel like a stray bullet gonna hit me. I don't know what's gonna happen. Like,
yeah, you like, I'm just gonna sit in the house. I ain't gonna battle today.
It's true though. You get paranoid because you know you ain't doing right. So
yeah.
Like, man,
you turn into a coward. You don't want to own up to your day. You don't want to own up to your life. You don't want to own up to what you did. That's a coward spirit. Other men see that, they're like, yeah, I'm gonna handle it the same way. So we gotta be careful, man, and we always gotta remember that. Most High, bro. Most High don't look kindly on that. Go to Romans real quick. Romans 14:23. I'm gonna skip a few scriptures. I'll keep y'all here all night. Romans 14:23.
God. Romans chapter 14, verse 23.
Somebody else get Ecclesiastes 2 and 12. Go ahead, read.
God. Verse 23. And he that doubteth is damned if he eat. Because
you got a lot of people that they come into the truth or they come into their battles doubting. They'll still show up. They'll still put on the armor halfway, but in their mind, they're like, I don't even know what I'm doing this for. I don't know why I'm getting girded up. I'm going to die anyway. So you're partaking in your battle, but you're doing it in a doubtful way. Go ahead.
Because he eateth not of faith.
Right, because somebody get Hebrews 10 and verse 2 real quick. Hebrews 10. Throw this in there. Hebrews chapter 10.
God.
Is it verse 2? Yeah, Hebrews chapter 10 and verse
2. Hebrews chapter 10 and verse 2.
Uh-huh. Read it. What is it?
For then would they not...
No, that's not it. It's Hebrews, my bad. Hebrews 11. No, it's Hebrews. Hold on. Sorry. Damn, how do I... Oh, Hebrews 11 and verse 6.
Hebrews chapter 11 and verse 6.
So read where you at, Lock Rob.
God. Romans chapter 14 verse 23.
Uh-huh.
And he that doubteth is damned if he eat.
Read.
Because he eateth not of faith.
Read Hebrews 11 and verse 1.
Hebrews chapter 11 and verse 1.
Uh-huh.
Now faith is the substance of things hoped for.
Right.
The evidence of things not seen.
Right. Faith is that I'm going to go into this battle and I hope that I win, even though I don't know if I'm going to win or not. Even though I don't see the victory, excuse me, because you should know that you're going to win. I don't see how it's going to happen, but I know it's going to happen. That's faith. That's the only way we can approach our battles. Jump down to verse 6.
Hebrews chapter 11 verse 6.
Uh-huh.
But without faith, it is impossible to please him.
It's impossible to please the Most High without faith. Without knowing that you have the victory, without that belief that I got it, it's impossible to please the Most High. That's why if you eat not of faith, you're damned. You're done. Read on.
For he that cometh to Yahweh must believe that he is.
How do you believe that he is? If you don't believe that the Most High is there fighting for you, then you don't believe in the Most High. You don't believe that he's real. Because all through our history, he's been there. Go ahead.
And that he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him.
Right. Jump back to Romans and finish that up.
For whatsoever is not faith.
Right, because you're no longer in the pleasure and pleasing the Most High. Ecclesiastes 2 and verse 12. Damn, the time just flowed. Read.
Ecclesiastes chapter 2 and verse 12.
Uh-huh.
Woe be to the fearful hearts.
Why? Read on.
And faint hands.
Read.
And the sinner that goeth 2 ways.
Why? Read.
Verse 13. Woe unto him that is faint-hearted.
Yeah, to you cowards. Go ahead.
For he believeth not.
Wait, what happened?
For he believeth not.
Yeah, you didn't believe. You didn't believe that the Most High is. You didn't believe that he was here to fight for you. You didn't believe that the war was his. You just a player. You just a pawn. It's a chess game. You just a pawn. But you ain't got to die. You ain't a pawn like that. Like, oh, you just a pawn. Nah, you there for a reason. Go ahead.
Therefore shall he not be defended.
Therefore what?
Shall he not be defended.
Well, we don't get defended, man, because we don't believe. Go to Hebrews 3 and 12.
Hebrews chapter 3, verse 12.
Go ahead.
Take heed, brethren, lest there be in any of you an evil heart of unbelief.
What?
An evil heart of unbelief.
Yeah, you got that sinful heart of unbelief. That's why it says if you eat not of faith, it's sin. So you got that evil heart of unbelief. Why? Because you got brothers and sisters that are fighting for the cause, steadfast, unmoving, or trying not to be double-minded. And then where do you come and say, nah, them brothers is wrong. You know, I don't believe in that. I don't believe in what they talking about over there. You know, that 12 tribe chart, I don't believe in that. You know, I believe, you know, all the tribes is Negro. I don't know what they teaching. Don't you believe that? And then what does it do? It starts to raise doubt in everybody else. That's why it's sinful. That unbelief spirit is contagious, or it can be if you're not grounded. Read on.
In departing from the living power.
Because what happens with unbelief? You depart from the living power. Read.
Verse 13.
Uh-huh.
But exhort one another daily.
To be double-minded or to fight. Read on.
While it is called today.
Read.
Lest any of you be hardened through the deceitfulness of sin.
Yeah, that unbelief, that lack of faith is sin. That's how you get hardened. You get hardened in your, you get hardened to the point where you don't even want to fight your battle. You start to infect others. not to fight. Go ahead.
Verse 14. For we are made partakers of Hamashiach if we hold the beginning of our confidence steadfast unto the end.
It's the only way you're a partaker. You got to be steadfast to the end. Read on.
15. Whilst it is said, today if ye will hear his voice, harden not your hearts as in the provocation. Provocation. Verse 16. For some, when they had heard, did provoke. Howbeit, not all that came out of Egypt by Moses. 17. But with him was he grieved 40 years.
What verse you at?
17.
But with
whom was he grieved 40 years?
Read.
Was it not with them that had sinned?
Read.
Whose carcasses fell in the wilderness.
Yeah, it said, who was he grieved with for 40 years? Was it not the unbelievers? Was it not the faint-hearted? What was the whole point of us being in Egypt? Who remembers? Why did we end up in the wilderness for 40 years? What was it?
We had to shut off the rebels, huh?
No. There was something that happened before that. Y'all know the 40 years of the wilderness was punishment, right? What was it punishment for?
Oh, he wanted all the old generation to die off because they were doubting at one point. Like he said, he promised that Moses wouldn't be able to see the promised land, as well as like I think his generation of people.
Why? What happened? Who remembers the story?
Worshiping other gods?
No.
That wasn't the golden calf.
No.
It was, I know it, man.
Go to Deuteronomy. Go to Deuteronomy, chapter 1, verse 26. See, the Most High was hardened. The Most High was angry with the non-believers and the doubtful in the wilderness. We wandered around the wilderness for 40 years dying off because of our doubt, because of our lack of courage. Deuteronomy, chapter 1 and verse 26.
Notwithstanding, ye would not go up, but rebelled against the commandment of the Lord your power.
What was the commandment at that time? He said, take 12 men that were brave and go spy out the new land. The land flowing with milk and honey. What did they do? They went, they spied it out, and they came back like
grasshoppers.
They're too big. They're too strong. We ain't gonna beat them, God. And then what happened? Everybody else got weak and whack and fell into that spirit of faint-heartedness, disbelief, cowardice. He said, for that, y'all gonna wander the wilderness for 40 years. But think about it. How many of y'all wander around in y'all heads day in and day out, not knowing which way is up and which way is down? Because you're not even strong enough, faithful enough to approach your battle. You look afar off and you say, man, this is just too much work. I ain't doing that. Now you just wander around this world, man, not knowing which way to go. You need to step the hell up. Read on. Verse 27.
Verse 27. And ye murmured in your tents and said, because the Lord hated us, he hath brought us forth out of the land of Egypt.
Read.
To deliver us into the hands of the Amorites.
Right. Go ahead.
To destroy us.
Yeah, like why the hell would the Most High deliver you this to deliver you to be destroyed? He gonna deliver you out of one kingdom so you can go to another kingdom and be destroyed? What the hell sense does that make? It's just like, why would the Most High get you through one battle just to destroy you in another battle? If you're doing the right thing, right? If you're doing His will, then He ain't gonna say, I'm gonna put you through one battle and save you just to destroy you in another battle. The Most High is not on that way. Read on.
Verse 28. Whither shall we go up?
Right.
Our brethren have discouraged our heart.
Our brethren have done what?
Discouraged our heart.
Yeah. It's like, why are we going to go up there and fight? Our brethren they just discouraged us. They came back with an evil report. Go ahead.
Saying, the people is greater and taller than we.
The people are what?
Is greater and taller than we.
Man, they're too big for us. Yeah, you know what you're really saying? God, you ain't strong enough. The ain't strong enough to fight. Does that make sense? The Most High ain't strong enough to defeat the people that He created. I mean, you got to think about it. That's what you say when you doubt in your battle, when you doubt in the war. You say, you know what, Yahweh, you ain't strong enough to defend me. That's what you're saying. But He's coming back and saying, well, are you cleaving unto me? Are you fighting for the truth until death? Well, you're not. That's why I'm not defending you. You see how that works? We try to play these psychological games with ourselves. You're telling the Most High he ain't strong enough, and he's saying all you got to do is cleave to me, and I got you. But what do we do? Isaiah 30:1, what do? Woe to him that cover with a covering, but not of my spirit. That's what we do. We cover with the spirit of everything else, except for the spirit of the Most High. It says that he's the man of war. The Lord is his name. I'm going to the man of war. Damn it. He's the warlord. I'm dealing with that spirit. I'm like, okay, you the man of war? I'm trying to roll with you. Teach me. Like David said, blessed is the Most High that teacheth my hands to war. Right? My hands to fight. The Most High taught David. David was slaughtering cats, bare hands. Tens of thousands, right? The Most High taught him that. That's what I'm trying to roll with.
Then when they say in the scriptures, the Lord of hosts, hosts just means armies.
The Lord of armies, yeah. Bro, that's why it says the Most High is a man. The Lord is a man of war. The Lord is his name. Because when you look at it, and you know it's talking about Yahweh Shai, because when you look at it, man, I mean, who do you think slaughtered all the Egyptians in the Passover? That was Yahweh Shai. Who do you think sent the fiery serpents? Who do you think put the spirit on us to go kill one another when the commandment was given? It's all Yahweh Shai. He's that warrior. Who do you think is going to be stomping out these nations when it's time? Yahweh Shai. Where we at?
Deuteronomy in chapter 1 and verse, we're still at 28.
Go to Numbers chapter 13 and verse 30. 14 and 30. Numbers 14 and 30.
Numbers chapter 14, verse 30.
Uh-huh. Wait a minute, hold on. Go to Numbers 14. Hold on. Oh, here it is. Numbers 13 and verse 30. Numbers 13 and 30, I'm sorry.
Numbers chapter 13, verse 30.
And
Caleb stilled the people before Moses.
Go ahead.
And said, let us go up at once and possess it.
Right.
For we are well able to overcome it.
So this was when the Most High told them told Moses get the 12 men. Remember, these 12 men were the 12 heads of the tribes of Israel. They were the 12 heads. They were supposed to be the representation. They were supposed to be the representation of strength and courage.
Oh, damn.
Yes, they were the strongest men of the tribes. Go ahead.
But the men that went up with him said, we be not able to go up against the people.
Right.
For they are stronger than we.
Go ahead.
And they brought up an evil report of the land which they had searched unto the children of Israel.
Read.
Saying, the land through which we have gone to search it, is a land that eateth up the inhabitants thereof.
Right, go ahead.
And all the people that we saw in it are men of great stature.
Read.
And there we saw the giants, the sons of Anak, which come of the giants. And we were in our own sight as grasshoppers. And so
wait, we were in our own what?
Sight.
See, we looked at our own sight. We didn't look at what the Most High was looking at. We judged according to the appearance. We judged ourselves and not spiritual judgment. That'd be the problem, where it's time to fight and we look at it like, yeah, I can't do that because I'm judging myself incorrectly. I'm not judging spiritual judgment. I'm judging off the appearance of my eyes, the seeing of my eyes, and the hearing of my ears. But we got to judge spiritual judgment. Y'all see that? Go ahead.
As grasshoppers. And so we were in their sight.
Check this out. I'm going to read this real quick in the Josephus. Josephus, I'm in page 99. I'm going to read this real fast just to show y'all. This goes right along with this story about this land. This is book 3, chapter 14, page 99, section 1. So it says, and when Moses had led the Hebrews away from thence to the place called Paran, which was near the borders of the Canaanites, and a place difficult to be continued in, he gathered the multitude together in a congregation, and standing in the midst of them said, of the two things that God determined to bestow upon us, liberty and possession of the happy country, the one of them ye already are partakers of, by the gift of God, and the other you will quickly obtain. So we already had liberty. We were free from the Egyptians. We were going to obtain the land. Think of it. Listen to what Moses is saying. For we now have our abode near the borders of the Canaanites, and nothing can hinder the acquisition of it. Moses believed. When we now at least are falling upon it. He said, listen, all we have to do is show up, it's ours. We already are in the borders, it's our land. Right? It says, neither falling upon it. I say, not only no king nor city, but neither the whole race of mankind, if they were all gathered together, could do it. He said, it don't matter if the whole world was against us, this is our land. Think about what he's saying. Every nation could be in this land and we could still take it. Why?
Because the Most High is with us.
Let us therefore prepare ourselves for the work. I'm going to read it again. Let us therefore prepare ourselves for the work. See, that's the problem with Israel. We don't want to put in the work. And the work wasn't even hard. Right? Our work ain't even hard. It's just go study. That's the work. Let us prepare for the work. For the Canaanites will not resign up their land to us without fighting. So we did have to fight. But no matter what, the victory was guaranteed. But it must be wrested from them by great struggles in war. Let us then send spies who may take a view of the goodness of the land and what strength it is of. But above all things, let us be of one mind, and let us honor God, who above all is our helper and assister. How come Moses believed this? And how come these 12 faint-hearted ass niggas did? And they made everybody else faint-hearted.
It says that in Ecclesiastes 10 and 2. It says like basically how a ruler is.
Read it.
Yeah.
Says, how the ruler of the people is, so is his officers.
So it goes like I was thinking about that.
But think about it. Moses wasn't like the 12 men he sent.
That's true.
Because Moses was courageous. He never doubted. These 12 men doubted. Moses didn't. He believed that they were going to take, that we had the land. He said all we had to do was just fight a little bit. We got to just pull it away from them. That's it. We already got it. We're here. If the whole world was against us, we got it. See, this is how we got to be believing. Let's jump real quick. Go to Romans 11 and verse 20. I'm going to show you something. Romans 11 and I'm not going to keep y'all too much over. I just want to get like a few more out of these scriptures. Romans 11 and 12, 2 Timothy's 1 and 7. Get Romans 11 and 20.
Romans chapter 11 verse 20.
Go ahead.
Well, because of unbelief, they were broken off.
Because of what?
Unbelief.
See, our unbelief does what? It breaks us away from the strength. Read.
And thou standest by faith.
Go ahead.
Be not high-minded,
but
fear.
So unbelief breaks you off from the strength and from faith. Go to Romans 3 and 3 real quick.
What if some did not believe?
What if some did not believe?
For what if some did not believe?
Because the whole world don't believe. Go ahead.
Shall their unbelief make the faith of Yahweh without effect?
Does their unbelief make what the Most High can do for you not true? It shouldn't. Read.
Yahweh forbid.
Go down to 2 Timothy's 1 and verse 7. This is what we have to understand, man, that there's no reason to be fearful. The Most High already gave us the victory, bottom line. He already give you the weapons to fight. You just got to use them. 2 Timothy's 1 and verse 7.
God, 2 Timothy chapter 1 verse 7.
Exodus 14 and 14.
For God hath not given us the spirit of fear.
He didn't even give us the spirit of fear. So what the hell are you scared of? Why are you cowardice? Why are you fearful? Read.
But of power.
But of what?
But of power.
Read.
And of love.
Read.
And of a sound mind.
Exodus 14 and 14. Romans 8:31. Go ahead.
Exodus 14 and 14.
Read.
The Lord shall fight for you.
Come on.
And ye shall hold your peace.
Wait, we got to go get frantic and try to do our things ourselves.
And ye shall hold your peace.
Yeah, Most High is going to fight for us. We got to just hold our peace, man. Don't stir the pot too much. Just believe in him. Romans 8:31.
God, Romans chapter 8, verse 31. What shall we say then? What shall we then say to these things? If God be for us,
read,
who can be against us?
The Most High is for us. Who can be against us? This is how much the Most High was for you. Read.
Verse 32. He that spared not his own son.
Wait. He did what?
Spared not his own son.
Yeah, the Most High was so much for us that he didn't even spare his own. He spared not his own son. He sacrificed his son. Go ahead.
But delivered him up for us all.
He did what?
Delivered him up for us all.
This is how much the Most High is with us. He sacrificed his son for us. Go ahead.
How shall he not with him also freely give us all things?
And this is what we got to remember. Go to, I'll end it there. Y'all get it though. Y'all understand, right? We gotta really see it, man. It's basic. It's just basics. Like I said, it ain't gotta be no super deep. All the way in there. I was wicked at one point and I used it seriously. It says, God, I was wicked at one point and I used to seriously fear being struck by lightning during a storm. Would always go inside. I got wounded so many times before I came into my friend. They used to tell me I must have 9 lives. Yeah, when I first came in truth, I was scared. I was mostly scared of myself. Who will rise up for me against the evildoers? Who will stand up for me to work of iniquity? Yeah, another description. But y'all understand, right? I mean, there was more to it. The time, jeez. It's all good. Basic class, again, a reminder that, listen, keep fighting because the Most High is fighting for you. Even though it seemed like you can't win, just do the things that are necessary for you to win. Prepare. Keep your mind right. Keep your mind straight. You know, the one thing I'm learning as I go through my battles and fights and wars is that you can't try to take on too much at a time. One thing at a time and go with the flow. You can't force the course of the river. You got to go with the flow of things, but in the spirit, going with the flow. You know, we can't change nothing, man. Because if it's the will of the Most High, it's going to happen. Right? You can't kick against the pricks, but we can at least flow in the spirit and be strong mentally. Like the scriptures say, we don't got the spirit of fear, but of peace and a sound mind. That soundness of mind comes from steadily being in the book. That's where it comes from. Any questions? Anything online? Questions on the topic? What's that, Allison?
What was the scripture after Romans 11 and 20?
Romans 11 and 20, then we hit
Romans 3 and 3.
Romans 3 and 3. God. I had a bunch more. Like, listen, y'all, when y'all get a chance, y'all can go to 2 Maccabees 15 and read that chapter. That'll blow your mind. 2 Maccabees 15, read that. That's one of my favorite stories. I wanted to get to it. You can read that. You can add in, there's another good story in 2 Kings 6 and verse 8. Down, you can add that. 2 Kings 6 and 8, where Elisha made the chariots and the angels appear to the servant. Because they were going to war, and the servant was like, wait a minute, that's too great of an army. And Elisha was like, we got an army with us too. And he prayed to the Most High, let him see, and it was the whole mountain was compassed with angels and chariots. Yeah, man, but that's what we have. Just because you can't see it, does it make it null and void? God forbid. I'm sorry you don't see it. But blesses him that don't see it and believe. Right? It ain't for you to see. The Jews require a sign, the Greeks seek knowledge. The knowledge is that there's angels fighting for us daily. Because we ask for it and the Most High does it. That's the belief. That's the faith. So whatever battle you go into, just know there's somebody there for you and with you. Con? Anything online? All right. Definitely thank y'all for joining us for another class. We will be back Friday for the Shabbat. All right, that's going to be from 6 to 9, okay? So if there's nothing online and nothing in class, we're going to say shalom. 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 Thank y'all for joining us.
Yes, ma'am.
That was some warm milk. So that was some warm milk.
Yeah, you gotta do that sometimes. You gotta have those vivid scriptures and classes. It can't be all like Blaze.
Jesus is real, but you devils taught lies on Christ. So many lies that when we come with the truth, people think that the lies is the truth and that the truth is the lie.
Who changed the truth for God into a lie? In English, Jesus Christ, in Hebrew, it's Yahweh Shai. So do or die. The immaculate conception is deception.